Like scary movies?
Uh-huh.
You never told me your name.
Why do you want to know my name?
I want to know who I'm looking at.
We are children. That's the song at the end of the movie.
The movie, which is Scream, the 1996 film directed by Wes Craven. Surprise, everyone. Happy New Year. We're doing the Scream retrospective. Is it the whole franchise leading up to the next Scream film, Scream 5, titled Scream? We don't know yet, frankly. We're going to talk about that, too. Hello, I'm your host, Diego Crespo. With me is my co-host, Matt Garingo.
That's me. I am the co-host, Matt Garingo.
Scream is a 1996 American slasher film directed by Wes Craven and written by Kevin Williamson. The film stars Neve Campbell, David Arquette, Courtney Cox, Matthew Lillard, Rose McGowan, Skeet Ulrich, and Drew Barrymore, kind of. Released on December 20th, it follows Sidney Prescott, a high school student in the fictional town of Woodsboro, California, who becomes the target of a mysterious killer in a Halloween costume known as Ghostface. The film combines black comedy and whodunit mystery with the violence of the slasher genre to satirize the cliches of said genre popularized in films such as Halloween, Friday the 13th, and Craven's own A Nightmare on Elm Street. Scream was considered unique at the time of its release for featuring characters aware of real-world horror films and openly discussed the cliches that the film attempted to subvert.
Did you say Neve Campbell?
Yeah.
I thought it was Nev Campbell.
It probably is. I've always been saying Neve, though.
All right.
Yeah, I don't know why. There's not two E's in there. There's nothing to, accentuate that second E.
Yeah, that's so strange.
You might be wondering why I read straight off the Wikipedia page for this film.
Is it because for some reason David Arquette is ranked the highest on there?
Yeah, I switched it. I hope you caught that.
I think it's because it's alphabetical order, but...
Yeah, but Neve Campbell is really good in this, and I read off the Wikipedia page, because this is one of those films on the retrospective that everyone just knows and talks about. I think there's plenty of stuff to go read up on with Scream. It might genuinely be a bad idea to do the Matrix and Scream retrospectives back to back like this.
It might be, but we'll see. Hopefully this one will similarly end on a high note. Do you think so, Diego?
We'll talk about that. I am optimistic.
Who the hell is even doing the new one? I have not been paying attention.
Have you seen Ready or Not?
Oh yeah, that was a solid movie. So those guys.
Yeah. They didn't write this one or Ready or Not. So I think their direction will shine through. Mm-hmm. We can talk a little bit about the trailer if you want. This is coming out 2 weeks before the release of the new film.
I've not. I saw the trailer where they used smart devices. Which was people were kind of dunking on it, but I was that's not a bad idea.
Yeah, I mean I don't know, that's fine. What I don't know what the fuck people want. I mean, apart from some people just not wanting Scream without Wes Craven, which truthfully, if you had asked me, I wouldn't have touched it. Yeah. I feel this is The Matrix is the Wachowski sisters projects. Mm-hmm. I think Scream is very much Wes Craven.
Is this a situation where someone just got the rights to Scream because the fucking Weinstein brothers are desperate?
Oh, what happened to those guys? No,
well, hold on.
No, I don't know. I thought about that and I was like, no one's talking about that, so that's probably not the case. But it might be. Who knows?
It's not produced by Dimension Films, and I believe all the other ones are. All the other ones are by the Weinsteins on some level.
Yes.
And then this one is also the first one without them. But there was also a TV series, which
was
will not be
with them.
Yeah, we will not be covering the Scream show.
Yeah, sorry. I've heard the first season's tons of fun though.
Yeah, I've heard it was solid.
Yeah, from lots of people.
For what it was, yeah. I think it's just that thing of other than American Horror Story, it's hard to do long form horror television.
Fucking Hannibal! How dare you?
Yeah, but it lasted 3 seasons.
Yeah, I guess so. But holy fuck, those 3 seasons.
Yeah, no, they're great.
Yeah,
but that's also one.
Yeah.
That's also one where just by the content of the show, you can tell no one was paying attention.
Yeah, they were like, "Oh yeah, sure, do a
snuck...
TV version of Silence of the Lambs." It's like, no, we're doing the Hannibal Lecter character. Oh, okay, yeah, that's great. Everyone loves Anthony Hopkins. And then the producers saw like the final cuts, and they were like, "What have you done?"
I feel like it's one of those ones where like executives for months were just like, "Wow, a lot of young people are tweeting about this show. It must be very good." And then they're like, "Yeah, just don't worry about it." And then at some point, someone checked in.
Yeah, and they were like, "Holy shit! What?
Let's put this on primetime television."
Cut to like the angel with flesh wings.
I will say I like the poster for the new Scream that just says the killer is on this poster.
Yeah, that's fun.
That's a fun idea.
And
although like I don't know. It's gonna be. I worry it's gonna lean a little too into like the meta comedy of it all.
Having seen the trailer, and I guess we'll just use this as an opportunity to talk about, kind of being excited. I think we're both excited for it.
Yeah, we're definitely excited.
Yeah. I think some people maybe I think they're like theorizing that like, oh yeah, it's literally the killer because it's Ghostface on the poster. I think that would be funny, but I do think the killers like are on there because Scream is the perfect franchise to like play with those expectations and subvert them, which everyone loves to hear about.
Yeah.
And there's no controversial opinions or takes about.
There's no really incredibly stupid takes about subverting expectations.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
I don't know. It's ridiculous.
Do you recognize any of the new young cast?
Yes. Yes, I do, because I saw In the Heights. And the lead of that film, or one of the co-leads of that film. Hang on, let me open up the Wikipedia for the new Scream because I didn't do that for this. Her name is Melissa Barrera, and she's playing a character named Sam Carpenter. Obviously,
oh boy, yeah. I'm sorry, that does not bode well.
Nah, I mean like, I know everyone's tired of like the referential like horror names to like certain directors. Like it was tired when Night of the Creeps did it in the 80s.
And her friend Rachel Romero. and her boyfriend Steve Cronenberg.
Yeah. And they live on like Craven Lane or something like that. Yeah. But like no, I recognize her from In the Heights because the acting's really good in that movie. Is what I will say. And she's not the worst person to look at on screen. I also recognize Jack Quaid from The Boys.
Oh yeah, that guy.
Yeah, he's good. I like him. Dylan Minnette. This is a throwback because I recognized him first as Jack's son in Lost.
Oh, hey.
Which is a thing that happens later. That's a spoiler, kind of, but also I didn't
spoil I won't remember it if I ever decide to watch Lost, so don't worry.
Okay. Well, he's good. He's been kind of like fucking stuck in that shitty Netflix show. What the fuck? 13 Reasons Why. The one that convinced kids to commit suicide or whatever. Which is maybe like perfect casting for.
Remember when paparazzi got that photo of P.T. Anderson and he had a copy of the book 13 Reasons Why in his pocket?
No. No, what?
It was like 2 years ago.
No, I missed this completely.
It was P.T. Anderson looking like he just fell out of a bus or something.
Oh.
And then he had a copy of that book in his pocket. Maybe
also
do research for Licorice Pizza.
No, I still haven't seen that. That's not.
I haven't seen that either.
Yeah.
Maybe he's trying to tap into the teen mindset.
No, Mason Gooding, who's not like a big star, but he was on Booksmart as kind of like the,
I liked
the
Booksmart.
jockey
People
dude.
hate Booksmart. I like Booksmart.
I like it too. Like I don't know. Like at the very least, it's like really well directed. I don't know.
Yeah, it was solid.
I think that's kind of like the reactionary side of like film Twitter, where it's like, oh, it's like they're not mad that it's like woke. It's like I don't know.
I guess, but I have not like I've heard from people that I like who don't like that movie, and I don't know, and I think maybe like it's one of those things where I didn't pay attention to the advertising at all, And I feel like maybe there was kind of like a Yes Queen Girl Boss advertising campaign. At least that's the vibe I get when I talk to some people.
Mm-hmm.
And I just went in and I just watched it. And I was like, this was like, I thought it was really funny. I don't know.
Yeah, no, it's funny. And Olivia Wilde, turns out, she's a really good director. So,
Yeah.
you know, like, she makes, like, choices with the camera. She would have been a good choice for a new Scream movie, I think.
Too bad she fucking broke Jason Sudeikis' heart.
I know. No, I don't care. I mean, look, she goes to become an exciting new directorial voice, and he makes Ted Lasso. It's a win for everyone.
It's a win for everyone.
Specifically me, who's a fan of both. I get both in the divorce. I'm also a fan of Harry
Two
Styles.
Christmases. Yay.
Anyway, none of this has to do with Scream.
None of it does.
All right, so let's talk about the actual Scream film. Because
All right.
I gotta be honest, I'm not a fan of the new Scream being titled Scream. Just
yeah, that's a little
Scream.
bit. Yeah.
In a perfect world, if I was God Emperor of the Scream franchise, I'd be like, all right, good job, everyone. Now, for the title card, we're going to reveal the 5 at the end of the film.
Mm-hmm.
I think that would be fun, you know?
What was a movie that did that? Like, some movie did that a little while back.
Blair Witch?
I guess Blair Witch.
Well, but everyone thought they were seeing the woods
Oh,
at
yeah.
the Comic-Con screening.
Remember that movie, Blair Witch?
Oh, I've heard defenses of it.
Remember that hit film, Blair Witch? It was whatever. That's
Well,
I like
mean,
that director.
Scream tends to be a smart enough franchise where, like, I'm willing to put money down on the very title being, like, a gag, you know?
Mm-hmm.
If it's, like, repeating the same literal title, I think that is, like, intentional. I don't
Yeah.
think it's, like, a lazy producer choice.
But how much of it is like the producers are like, it's got to be called Scream, and then they write the gag around that, or if they went into it knowing that would be the gag?
Hey, if the gag fucking works, it's not going to matter. So I don't know.
All right.
Yeah. But Scream
All right.
1996. Should we
Now,
talk
before
about how
we
we first saw
start-
it?
Before we start,
Oh, no.
I just want the audience. This is going to be a fun game. The audience is going to have to guess what national tragedy will I use this movie as an excuse to talk about.
No. No.
It's unavoidable.
I don't know. Other people avoid it. Fine.
I will not.
Okay.
I will not be avoiding it. I'm going all in.
Oh, boy.
So get ready.
Okay.
Get ready to turn the comment section off on YouTube.
No. Well, they hide our dislikes now, which is great for our Sugarland Express episode, which made people very angry for some reason.
What did I say?
Well, because we open it with, like, shitting on Republicans, and I guess that's the one the algorithm picked up.
Oh, all right.
So, it picked it up for the very wrong people.
I guess maybe that's a movie that like only Republicans watch, like Flyover Country.
So, and
Republicans.
no one's like, yeah, it's really good. See, so Republicans, I'm technically with you on one thing only.
Yeah.
You got a fan in me for one thing only. Literally one. All right, Scream. What is your fucking horrendous, horrifying reference you want to make?
Oh no, I'll make it later. 'Cause
No.
it's relevant later.
Oh, I wanted to get it out of the way, but okay.
What's your history with Scream?
It's kind of always been there, because this is not a surprise. You and I are not much older than this film. We got a couple years on it, but it's always kind of been there
Yeah.
in my life. And I talked about it before, but I wasn't a big horror guy until, like, high school, really, right?
Yeah.
And, like, really, like, after, like, I turned 18, that's when I was just, like, devouring shit. But, so Scream was also kind of, like, in the background of, like, I recognized the Ghostface costume that was totally, like all over the place when I was growing up. Especially because the sequels came out, like, pretty fast after this.
Do you remember the versions of the Ghostface mask that had like blood on them?
Oh, yeah, you could press a button to pump the fake blood through the mask. Yeah.
They got banned from my school.
Mine too.
You weren't allowed to have them.
Yeah, it was like too much, and like looking back in hindsight, it's like it's just fucking kids having fun, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. That's fucking...
This might tie into the point I will make later. But there was a bit of a moral panic around the time we were in schools.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I kind of have a similar thing where like Scream was always kind of around. But I did not watch it until I had a babysitter that was like, "Hey, you should watch Scream."
Okay, so I watched them in high school. They were on like HBO or something.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's when I finally saw them. That's how I saw a lot of stuff in high school. Also, when YouTube would allow you to upload like entire like scenes
back
from
in
films.
the day.
Yeah. And I was a little curious about that. I don't know. I'm not a big nostalgic guy, but I was like, I wonder if like people are still uploading like entire movies through like 2 to 5 minute sequences. Lo and behold, I haven't gone through every single one, but there's like 22 collections of videos, or a 22 video collection that is the entire Scream film uploaded to YouTube. Wow. So I'm sure that'll get taken down eventually, but I was like, oh, that's kind of fun. You know,
I've seen that with Scream. I've seen it with Lord of the Rings. You can find all 3 Lord.
How many videos is that?
I know, it's like 500 videos. You can find like the entirety of Lord of the Rings up on YouTube. I've seen Titanic as well.
Oh, that's another very funny. And like you know, like some kid out there is gonna watch Scream for the first time like that, and they'll be like, "Wow, this is really exciting."
Now, is the Scream home video rights fucked up at all?
I don't know,
because it feels like their release is always a little weird.
But here's one thing. A lot of the Weinstein stuff, at least from what I can tell. So I use Movies Anywhere for my digital collection because, you know, it is convenient. Just press buttons. I will always buy physical media when I can, just because, like, it's mine forever and no one's going to try to take it later, which is something that happens on iTunes. So fuck off. Also, please hire me to write Apple TV shows. But anyways, Scream 4 is not available on, like, that distribution platform. Mm-hmm. I think the original trilogy is, but then the original trilogy is also not available through other, like, streaming sites. I think there's something weird with the rights, and I don't know what all the...
Because, like, yeah, all the Weinstein stuff is fucked up, like, right now.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, Paddington 2 almost straight up didn't get released after that
that's
because
crazy.
they're tied into that.
I wonder how much of it is that, like, Scream 4 was done by the Weinstein Company. Whereas, like, the first 3 Screams, I think, were still done under, like, a different group. You know? Like, that was, like, Dimension under Miramax. Mm-hmm. And there's also the weird thing with, like, you know, like, Kevin Smith can't get Dogma re-released. Did you know about this?
No. What?
Because when Kevin Smith was making Dogma, the Catholic League went after it and said it was, like, offensive and it should be pulled because Disney was initially releasing it. Like, a subsidiary of Disney, right?
Oh, right. Yeah, when their subsidiaries made real films, so.
Yeah, and to, like, get around it, because, like, it was turning this controversy where it's like Disney just kind of wants it off its books, but we still got to release it. The Weinsteins personally bought Dogma. So, like, they own the rights as a result. They bought it from Disney and then sold it to themselves for distribution. And so, like, Harvey Weinstein, like, specifically owns Dogma.
That's kind of fucked up.
And, like, that's why you can't get it on streaming, and that's why, like, it's not available anywhere currently. So if you got that, like, 2-disc DVD, which I have from, like, 15 years ago, you have Dogma. But also I think it's on YouTube for free. Like, that's the other thing where, like, you can find some Weinstein movies just up on YouTube, not in the 2-minute chunks, like, just entirely up on YouTube because no one's going to take it down. There's a couple weird, like, cases like that.
That's too bad. Because I've actually gone to bat for Dogma as someone who's not a big Kevin Smith movie fan.
Yeah, it's one of those weird ones, like, Kevin Smith, it's a little depressing where, like, he'll occasionally stretch and he'll kind of show what he could be making, and then he just always goes back to doing Jay and Silent Bob movies. You know? Mm-hmm. Like, I think Red State was, like, a really good, like, Kevin Smith announcing, like, I could do so much more than just stupid comedies. And I was like, go for it, Kevin. And then he did, like, one more, and then he's like, no, I'm back to Jay and Silent Bob forever.
No, he did Tusk.
Yeah, he did Tusk, but then he did, like,
Tusk?
Yoga Hosers, which is basically a comedy.
Yeah.
Like, and...
Which, sorry, Kevin, not... for me.
Mm-hmm.
Also, Tusk. which is
Yeah.
not for me.
I saw Tusk in a theater and Kevin Smith showed up.
Oh, wow. Have we
Yeah,
talked
it was
about this?
I think we did.
Okay, it might have been a while ago.
He just talked for like 20 minutes, but it was interesting.
I mean, like, I like Kevin Smith, the person, as like a nerd guy.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like I got no problems with him. But like, yeah, sorry, Kevin.
I just wish he
Can't
could
with
like.
those movies.
I just wish he was making more than this Jay and Silent Bob stuff sometimes.
No,
you
I
know?
do too, because like even Tusk, which is like that's like one of the worst films I've ever seen in a theater. Like there's like moments of there like where he'll do like some Hitchcockian camera move, and I'm like, where the fuck did that come from?
Yeah.
Like, whoa, dude. Like, I don't know. Like, I want him to keep making stuff for sure.
Well, Kevin, especially Red State, he's doing so much crazy shit with like the digital camera work on Red State. It's like, why is Kevin Smith the one doing this? Like,
Yeah, I mean now he's like producing the Masters of the Universe sequel series,
which was not received well.
Yeah,
by the nerds specifically. I don't know how like the general public saw it.
like critically from like people that actually use their brains and aren't just like insecure or like bad people. It's apparently like fine. Like I don't think it's like a home run versus like not to pivot too far away from Scream, but like versus our beloved She-Ra and the Princesses of Power, which you know everyone who saw it was like yeah yeah.
Bring
So
She-Ra back, you fucking cowards.
That thing's so good. I'm like, don't touch it.
I know, but like I don't know, man.
Yeah, no. The showrunner said they would want to do a movie someday maybe, and I'm like, yeah, do it, fucking do it,
do it, you fucks.
But anyways, no, I mean Kevin Smith is just so tied to like the Weinstein stuff, and
but
so was the Scream sequels, which is like really important, unfortunately.
This is relevant because Jay and Silent Bob are in Scream 3.
Yeah,
for like 2 seconds, and then Wes Craven is in Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back,
and in this film, not just the director.
Oh yes,
he's in this.
You know, I never knew it was him for the longest time. I knew it was a Freddy reference because he's in the Freddy sweater. I didn't realize it was Wes Craven under a shit ton of makeup.
Yeah, I didn't know that till Tumblr. So I saw this one in high school because I had a lot of friends that were super into it, and you know, it's easy to see why. It's fucking tons of fun.
It's tons of fun, but I also feel like it has kind of a bad reputation in some ways. In that I think it gets lumped into the like Whedon-esque self-aware genre thing, you know?
It totally does. We were talking about it just before we started recording, and you were like, we should probably start recording this. And it was like, oh shit, yeah. I definitely had like The Matrix. I was like, yeah, I get it, you know, like there's enough I've gotten out of it so far. I probably don't need to rewatch it all the time, and I'm not having this huge second wave of like I need to watch Scream every day like I am with The Matrix currently, because like fuck, those movies are so good. And Scream's like a fucking perfect film, by the way. There's no secret. You and I were like, yeah, let's just talk about how perfect it is. Like, let's not
Diego
hide
texted
anything.
me like in the middle of him watching it and be like, this movie kind of rules.
Yeah. But I did definitely have like an experience a couple years ago where I was like, I don't know, Scream, yeah. Who likes Scream? I'm more of a New Nightmare guy, and like I still am. I think New Nightmare is Wes Craven's masterpiece.
I like New Nightmare. Scream is his masterpiece.
Okay, no, but
like,
I guess this
New
will be our
great.
point of contention.
Well, guess what? Here's the thing. Like, I might put the original Nightmare above New Nightmare.
I can't do it.
I even with like its flaws, I love Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yeah, I mean, no, I do too. It's a 5-star fucking movie. I did the movie marathon of every film minus the 2010 remake when we thought COVID was gonna go away last June.
Oh yeah,
and that was like the greatest fucking way to reintroduce me to theaters. That I had a fucking blast. I'm ride or die Wes Craven. Nightmare on Elm Street, favorite horror franchise.
He might not agree with you, though, because there's a line very early in this about how all the sequels suck.
Oh, yeah, no. I mean, you know, Nightmare openly is, like, attacking the sequels in a way. Movies I love, mostly, you know? Even I can't really get on board with Freddy's Dead, sorry. everyone.
Freddy's Dead's kind of a mess.
It's
you
also
want it
very
to be
cheap and
you want it to be so much better than it is,
Yeah,
like
we needed that fucking third Alice movie. That's what should have. Whatever. Sorry, we're
I
not
like
here to
that,
talk about Nightmare on Elm Street.
I heard Wes Craven in an interview though where he talked about like how he was writing New Nightmare, and he originally had this idea for like when he was going to show up in the film that he was going to be like sleep deprived and like he had like his like eyes like open, like he had like something prying his eyes open so he wouldn't fall asleep and like he looked crazy, and then he realized that would be too uncomfortable, so he just wrote himself in like a nice house. Which I just kind of love about Wes Craven.
Yeah, that's fucking great.
Rest in peace, my man. Wes Craven was great. Here's the weird thing though, I have a weird relationship with Wes Craven.
Oh, all right.
Because here's the thing, like I think of the horror guys of his era, the guys that are put on the Mount Rushmore of horror.
Mm-hmm.
I think he might have the most misses of the guys.
That might be the case. Like I again love Wes Craven. He's got some fucking stinkers. Sorry.
Yeah, he's got some bad movies.
And like, hey, you know what? Not every artist is Michael Mann, who has literally never missed on a film in his entire life. His TV work's different, but whatever. I mean, like we're not gonna. I don't think we'll ever do like a Wes Craven retrospective because.
Yeah, it's too unwieldy, like
yeah,
be
but
all
like
over the
My
place.
Soul to Take, which is his penultimate film, it's the last film he made before Scream 4, which ended up being his final film. My Soul to Take is kind of dog shit.
Yeah, it's really bad. And I think that was the thing of like I was becoming a film nerd when My Soul to Take came out, and like I went to see that in theaters.
Oh, me too.
And I kind of was like, maybe Wes Craven sucks. Like I kind of had that for a minute. Another one of his, which is him reuniting with Kevin Williamson, is Cursed. Did you ever see Cursed?
I've never seen Cursed. I think that's the one I haven't seen. That and
Cursed
People Under
is
the Stairs.
It's a half brilliant movie, half dog shit movie.
Okay.
But it's really frustrating. It's trying to be like the werewolf version of Scream.
Okay.
And it's another one of those where like there's all these stories about how much he clashed with the Weinsteins on Scream. Mm-hmm. And like he almost got like fired like twice while making it. And it sounds like the same thing happened on Cursed, except the Weinsteins won.
Damn.
Like, yeah, because I think that was one where they like reshot half the fucking movie. Mm-hmm. And like kind of removed all the satirical elements.
Man,
and that's a weird one where they it was trying to be like a satire about Hollywood too. And fucking Craig Kilborn is in it as himself. And by the time the movie was released, Craig Kilborn was already off the air. Like, wow. It was one of those weird ones.
That's too bad.
But also he's done like, I'm not a giant fan of the original Hills Have Eyes.
No, neither am I. I appreciate it. Mm-hmm. We should also talk about Last House on the Left. Both of those are very low budget, very like I just want to fucking go out and make something, And you can
it's just like
the energy.
It is one of those movies that has a reputation of like you won't believe the fucking shit that's in Last House on the Left. And then you watch it and it kind of does have that Texas Chainsaw Massacre feel of like, am I gonna watch an actual murder committed on screen? Like,
yeah.
But then that's the other thing about Wes Craven, which is that he was a college English professor.
I did not know that.
And then you hear him in interviews, and he'll talk about Last House on the Left, and he'll be like, yeah, Last House on the Left was about the Vietnam War. And I'll be like, I kind of see where you're coming from, dude, but also no. Like he talks about his movies in a weird way where he's like, which I think made him perfect for something like Scream. Mm-hmm. But also he's done movies like, I think the super underrated Serpent and the Rainbow, which no one really talks about.
Yeah, well, I mean, isn't that one kind of hard to get?
Yeah, it's hard to get.
That was a YouTube movie for me.
Yeah. It's hard to get a hold of, and it's also, like, kind of got, like, Haitian voodoo as, like, the story, Mm-hmm. And I think, like, there's, I'm not saying Wes Craven maybe handled it super delicately.
Yeah.
And it was also written by a guy who, like, believes in it. And there's like, also stories about that movie where, like, I think that guy who, either that or one of the screenwriters was like, I wish I could just witness like a real like voodoo ceremony, like to see what it was like. And then he like disappeared for 3 days. And then when he came back, he refused to talk about what happened.
Oh, God.
There's like all sorts of stories about that. And then also People Under the Stairs, which rules. Like, it's so weird. We're like, I think everyone talks about with Wes Craven, they go like Last House on the Left, Hills Have Eyes, Nightmare on Elm Street, and then Scream like later. And it's like, but like Serpent in the Rainbow and People Under the Stairs and New Nightmare are all movies that came later, and those are like really interesting. Mm-hmm. Same with Red Eye. Red Eye is like a movie that shouldn't work and like really works.
Yeah, I mean, talking about like how Last House on the Left is like about Vietnam. Red Eye straight up like 9/11.
Yeah,
it is
but
not
here's the thing.
Subtle.
It's like it's about 9/11, and then Wes Craven will explain how he thought it was about 9/11, and then you'll be like, no, but kinda like. And that was the weird thing about what like Wes Craven kind of approached things from like that angle, and it's like so sad. He passed away like 5 years ago at this point. Like, yeah, he was like he felt like the first of like the old guard horror guys to pass away.
Mm-hmm. I think we lost him and Tobe Hooper in the same.
They were really close.
Really
I remember
close
them being
together.
Close.
Yeah.
And like Stuart Gordon was like a little like recently, and like that was a real bummer.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then somehow John Landis is still out there.
I know,
but
it's always these fucking dog shit guys that like
I
cling
know.
on to life.
Right.
I also want to shout out Paris Je t'aime, the 2006 anthology film that has like an insane amount of talented directors that no one talks about because I guess it's not very good. I lied about seeing that for years because that was another film that got really popular when I was in high school, and like some girl I was like madly in love with, like high school love, not like a real thing, but I was like, yeah, I love that movie, yeah, totally.
I mean, hey, why do you think I went to theaters to see My Soul to Take?
Yeah.
We're both around the same era.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know, maybe I'll check that out someday for like that'll be one of my last missing Craven pieces then.
All right. And he's got like a weird like drama film like right in the middle of his filmography. Music of the Heart or something like that.
Music of yeah, that's right. Fuck. Okay, so there's 3 I haven't seen.
Well, then he's also got like TV movies, of course. He has a Disney film that he did, like a Disney TV movie, and then he's got like a straight up porno that he filmed.
All these fucking see, that's what people are missing nowadays. Now that we're shifting back to the puritanical bullshit, we need like the Abel Ferraras, Wes Cravens of the world to go out and film like a porno and then get started in exploitation. We
forget that pornos were released in theaters for a little bit. Like they were like, and they were treated as like art for a little while. There's like a weird window. That's kind of what Boogie Nights is, Mm-hmm. Like there was a weird window where like porno was treated as real film, and then the moment video hit, it just died. Yeah. Like it's interesting.
Mm-hmm. I mean, fuck, I totally lost train of thought, but like something about this, whatever, doesn't matter. It'll come back to me. If it comes back to me, I'll talk about it some more.
What do you think about Kevin Williamson?
Kevin Williamson, I admire. Mm-hmm. He started a Fox show called The Following, starring Kevin Bacon. Do you remember this? I think I've talked about this one before, too.
I remember The Following, yes.
Yeah, and it is not good, but boy, oh boy, that was fun to watch at first. Mm-hmm. And to his credit, he was like, yeah, I'm not trying to make like a high art crime thriller series. Like, I want it to be like a fun beach read. And, like, for an extended period of time, it kind of was. It's like, oh, Kevin Bacon's, like, a retired FBI agent, has to catch a killer who started a cult of killers. And, like, oh, he also has, like, a pacemaker, so he can't get too intense. It's like, that's a fun, there's, like, fun drama in that. Yeah.
There's, like, weird mix of, like, drama and camp, and, like, which I think is, like, something he does. I think fucking Brian Fuller just stole, Ryan Murphy, not Brian Fuller. Ryan Murphy, the guy who did American Horror Story.
Oh, no, I'm familiar.
I think he stole a lot of Kevin Williamson's thunder, because, like, he kind of just took the camp and, like, ran with it. Yeah. And, like, because Kevin Williamson has interesting, where, like, it's so weird that he does I Know What You Did Last Summer after this. Mm-hmm. He wrote it, which is just like a shitty Scream ripoff almost.
Yeah,
like there's not
it's
really
the same
that much.
guy.
There's not that much substance there, but like it removed all the like satirical elements.
Mm-hmm.
But then he also does The Faculty, which rules. The Faculty's great.
I know. I just saw it. Like, fuck, was it last year now? But yeah, it fucking rocks.
Faculty rocks, but I gotta say, it's one of these things where like, if Robert Rodriguez had directed Scream, he would have fucked it up.
You think so?
Like, he would have made a good movie. He would not made as good of a movie. Because Robert Rodriguez uses The Faculty as like an excuse to go all in on like the genre stuff he likes, you know?
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
there is straight up a scene in it that is just his version of the blood test scene from The Thing.
Yeah.
You know? And whereas Wes Craven kind of has that distance, so like he doesn't do that. And like he knows how to keep some of the elements at arm's length, and it's not like there are shots in the movies directly aping other slasher films, you know, even when he's referencing them.
You know what? That might be the genius of Scream. For a film that's like so like metatextually interested in like the relationship between on-screen violence and like teen melodrama.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, there's a scene where like Randy is straight up watching Halloween, and then the film uses that scene to help the drama of its own scene, but there's never replicating stuff, you know? Like there's like I think the one thing that I would say is kind of like referential is like the black gloved killer, which is just like a giallo thing.
Yeah.
But even that's like kind of a stretch because it's not like trying to go for a giallo vibe or giallo vibe.
Yeah, it's totally just like, you know what was cool as shit? The Black Glove and giallo films. Like,
yeah, yeah.
It's like that aesthetically that looks great, but this movie is not like like referencing any of those.
Yeah, like
other than maybe as like a quick like that inspired the American slasher films.
Yeah.
But also like talk about that scene. It's like that's a scene where like they make the joke about how the audience like yells "Look behind you" in the horror movie, and then we get Randy when he's doing that watching Halloween, and then we cut to them in the news van and they're doing the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like it turns into like a real traumatic suspense moment. Like,
yeah.
And it works. It works fantastically.
I mean, that's something that's really like I was talking about how like I kind of put Scream aside for a while, but I've gotten really back into it over the last couple of years because I mean it's just a great fucking movie. But like the drama of it is like it's a fun watch, but it's like kind of heavy at times.
Yeah, it's a fun watch, but it's also like it's heavy. It's dealing with some heavy stuff, but it's also like a teen melodrama. Like it's totally like silly at the same time, but I don't know. It strikes a balance that like I don't know how they did it really.
Yeah, because other people definitely try to do like, oh, my love letter to Scream and stuff like that, and like,
yeah.
How much bullshit do we talk about where it's like, oh, it's very self-referential, but it's just kind of like aping better things to a certain point where you're like, why am I just not watching that better thing?
Well, think of like a movie I like, but like think of Cabin in the Woods, you know?
Yeah.
Like Cabin in the Woods is a worse version of Scream in a lot of ways. And that's like subtle Joss Whedon, you know?
Well, it's Drew Goddard co-writing, and Drew Goddard is kind of like Joss Whedon without the ego, apparently.
Mm-hmm.
And quite frankly, in a perfect world, we'd get like a Drew Goddard screenplay every year, because I think he's a fantastic writer and a much better director than Joss Whedon was, even when I was a fan of him. Like. He just knows what to do with like the camera. And I'm not trying to make this a Drew Goddard love fest. God forbid something else comes
You're making up for all the times
like,
I trapped you into defending Joss Whedon on the previous episode.
I know. But like a movie I don't like adore, but I think is like really great at like handling suspense and narrative. Oh fuck! I can't even remember the name of it. But his
Bad Time at the El Royale.
Thank you. Yeah.
I like that movie. It's another one where it's like I don't know, like they're like both those movies inspire like passionate hate for some reason.
Yeah, I don't know.
And like I get Bad Time at the El Royale, it's like definitely overlong. There's definitely problems. I'm not going to sit here and say it's like a masterpiece.
Yeah.
But like, you know, it's just fun even to watch just for like Jeff Bridges' scenes, you know?
Oh, he's so fucking good in that movie.
He's so good in it, and like it's so weird that like people just go like, bullshit.
Yeah, and you know, he's like trying to do like an ensemble drama, You know,
Yeah.
the only other person doing that right now is like Adam McKay, and people are like, kill him.
Yeah, they're also trying to kill Adam McKay, who I'm like the one kind of defender of.
I still haven't seen Vice, and I plan on watching Don't Look Up because I don't know. I thought the trailer looked good.
Check out Vice because that one was better.
Okay.
I don't know. I'm still the only guy defending Vice.
No.
And then
I
I gave Don't Look Up my version of a scathing review, which was 3 stars.
Oh, okay.
And everyone else is like 1/2 a star. Like I'd give it no stars if I could.
Yeah,
like,
this is the worst thing I've ever seen.
Yeah, this is and I felt some of the takes were kind of bad, but also like I'm not going to go. It's not a movie I'm willing to go to bat that hard for.
Yeah.
As opposed to Vice, which like I will kind of go to bat for.
Yeah, I mean, to talk about your thing about how like if you're too close to a subject, maybe that doesn't mean you're the best person to talk about it, right? Like, I mean, that's kind of like what you're talking about with Scream, where it's like if you got like a guy who like adores every aspect of the genre and just wants to make their like love letter to it. Sometimes it doesn't work out. Sometimes love letters work out great, you know?
Yeah.
Like West Side Story, which I just saw, which is the best film of 2021, is like a love letter to Spielberg's love of the musical, but also like its own thing, its own adaptation.
Yeah.
It's got its own merits.
Well, I always think of something like Rob Zombie with House of a Thousand Corpses versus Devil's Rejects. Like House of a Thousand Corpses is just him doing like every horror thing he knows, you know?
Yeah.
Like, and that movie's kind of a mess, and that's not entirely his fault. Like, he lost control of that movie.
Yeah.
But it's not like you can't even feel like the hidden gem underneath. But then you watch Devil's Rejects, and that one he was very openly like he was more inspired by like westerns and stuff like that. And when you watch the movie from that angle, it like works better. That he wasn't just trying to do like his horror reference movie.
Yeah. And Devil's Rejects. I that's to me his masterpiece, and I'm a Rob Zombie fan for sure. But the point I wanted to make was like, Don't Look Up. You know, it's co-written by David Sirota, who is like a hard left wing guy, who is extremely online, mind you.
Yeah.
But he's also like not like a known screenwriter, and maybe that probably attributes to some issues in the new Adam McKay film. I don't know. Haven't seen it
might
yet.
contribute to why a movie that should have been 90 minutes was 2.5 hours. I mean, because they had a lot. They had a lot they wanted to say.
And also, you can say things visually, and I think when people realize that, that's when you get like these fucking masterpieces that are like 110 minutes, like Scream.
Yes.
Because like I don't think people talk about like Craven's strength as like a visualist. Like sometimes he's like loose with the camera, but I think like his staging of sequences is like really good.
Yeah.
You know, it's a little like it feels like slapdash almost, but it's only because he makes it like so casual, like on screen.
Well, this is also like one of those times where like they gave one of the classic horror guys a real budget to do a horror film. You know, whereas like John Carpenter had to fight for that shit like his whole career, and Wes Craven did Scream, and then he kind of was like set for the rest of his career. Like he got to make a lot of movies that had real budgets behind them. So even when they maybe don't work on the screenplay level, they still look all right.
Yeah, like his producer project, Dracula 2000.
Oh, boy. Hey.
Have you seen that?
I have. I think we talked about it on the Dracula episode. Or the Dracula podcast.
Yeah,
whatever.
That's right.
It's Dracula in the year 2000. What are you going to do? I think I confused it with a different Dracula, because I think I called it Cyberpunk Dracula.
No, that's Dracula 3000.
That's a different film, yeah. Whatever, fucking Dracula.
I know, it's so funny.
Who the fuck made Dracula 2000? Oh, the director of Prophecy 3, of course.
Yeah, Patrick Lussier.
The direct-to-video Prophecy film that somehow still got Christopher Walken in it.
You know, everyone needs a paycheck.
Yeah. Oh, Walken.
Yeah. He should have been in a Scream sequel.
Maybe it should have been his voice as the Ghostface killer.
Hello, Sydney.
The house.
I want to know who I'm looking at.
Oh no.
Christopher
I didn't
Walken?
get that phone call from Walken. You can tell he's very clearly reading off cue cards. Hey, the opening of this movie is like a perfect like slasher movie in and of itself.
Yeah, it's like fucking 15 minutes of like perfection.
Yeah, it's like this is just Wes Craven showing off like I could totally just make a perfect slasher film if I wanted.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and then the movie kind of segues into more what it is, but it is like one of the best. You could just package this opening in and of itself, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and it would totally work. And it's kind of nuts that like even when you know the Scream mask at this point, like the first reveal is still pretty frightening.
Yeah. Did you know about the death when you first saw it?
Of
Drew Barrymore.
Drew Barrymore?
Yeah.
I think I had been spoiled on that.
Okay.
For some reason, like I wasn't shocked.
I was not spoiled on that. Because the internet, internet was different enough then where I wasn't like I mean, Psycho, everyone kind of knew at a certain point, you know? It was like, oh yeah, she dies halfway through. Spoiler alert for fucking Psycho. But here, I did not know
I watched
that.
Psycho with someone who didn't know that was going to happen.
I know, someone's smashing their keyboard. Fuck! But, like, I did not know Drew Barrymore gets killed off in the first scene. Because she puts up a fight. And I also love that we all just recognize Ghostface is, like just a fucking mess. Ghostface has to be an idiot to a certain extent.
He's a pratfall king.
Yeah.
Like, he's always getting knocked down.
It's fucking fantastic. But yeah, I like that sloppiness. But yeah, I didn't know she was gonna exit the picture. And
she's all over the trailers if you watch them, and she's on a lot of the posters. Mm-hmm. So they were definitely like, I think they went to her asking if she would be the lead, and she wanted to do the first victim. Like that was her idea, kind of. Also,
the official poster, the iconic Scream poster, is Drew Barrymore. Mm-hmm. It's not Neve Campbell. Neve Campbell.
Are you gonna have problems the whole time?
Probably, yeah. And so I was also like, I knew Drew Barrymore of the cast. I didn't know anyone else. Mm. So I was like, oh, cool, it's Drew Barrymore. I didn't know she was, oh.
Yeah, she gets disemboweled in front of her family.
Yeah, that was like fucking vicious,
Yeah, it's really vicious. I gotta say, I really like even from just the design of that opening scene of just they found a house that made sure it had like the biggest windows imaginable. Mm-hmm. And, like, every frame, there's kind of a window in the background. And, like, so you get that vibe of, like... And it's that weird thing of, like, when you're in a house when it's dark and you have the lights on because, like, maybe you're a little frightened for whatever reason. But the counter to that is that when the lights are on in the house, you can't see outside. Mm-hmm. Like, that's a weird feeling sometimes.
Yeah. Boy, let me tell you. Watching this and the Blair Witch Project roughly around the same time and then going to visit my my grandfather's old ranch...
Hey now.
That did not help me get any comfortable sleep for a long time.
Yeah, that'll do it.
Yeah, and like Scream's not like a terrifying film, but like those little ideas like that, they do creep up on you, and you're like, hang on, that is kind of unsettling. Mm. I don't like that. Good job though.
Well, I think there's something about it where when you get to the end of it and like it's not a like supernatural killer or like a guy escaped from a mental hospital, that like it kind of makes the whole thing more frightening, you know,
especially where Scream leads,
yeah, and it kind of like the idea of like these two fucking idiots that came up with the spoilers. You should have watched Scream before listening to this.
Yeah,
because it's a fucking great movie, but it's also one of those ones where when you know the reveal, which is so not true about a lot of other slasher films and a lot of Scream imitators, is that like the moment you know the twist, it actually makes the movie more interesting. Mm-hmm. Like when you rewatch it, you start thinking about like what was going on, and you can tell that they thought it out of like who is talking on the phone in this moment, like who is doing that, and then like they fucked her. They put her in that position of when they do the last question where it's like, which door am I at? And it's like, well, there's two of them, so whichever one she said, she would be wrong. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Which is like such a terrifying thought. Like, goddamn.
Yeah, no, it's fucking great. But to go back to the death of Casey Becker and her boyfriend, Like, I think that's kind of like the heart of why Craven stuff is so fucking, like, his best work anyways. It's in Nightmare on Elm Street as well. But, like, he's got such, like, empathy for these characters. Like, you can only really pull off, like, something so vicious and still, like, enjoy the rest of the film by, like, kind of having your heart open to a way.
No, definitely. It's definitely empathy. And you can see that in something like Black Christmas is, like, another slasher film that does that really well.
Yeah, Black Christmas fucking rocks.
Black Christmas fucking rocks. It'd be really foolish of a bunch of people to say it's just inherently better than John Carpenter's Halloween. It'd be a really fucking foolish hill to die on to compare those two movies. You fucking maniacs.
That take's been going around a lot lately.
It's been going around a lot lately, and it's a very bad take.
I don't know.
It's in fact one of the worst takes.
I've seen some bad takes. I don't know if that's one of the worst ones.
It's one of the worst because it's just it's fucking you can't compare those movies.
Okay.
They're not the same.
Well, they take place on holidays, which means they are the same.
They take place on holidays, and there's a guy with a knife. Not even. I don't think the guy in Black Christmas ever uses a knife.
No, the whole thing is it's Christmas stuff.
Yeah.
Mostly.
So why are you comparing the two? You fucking maniacs. It's like one movie is very clearly about the victims. The other is very clearly about the killer. Like, hey, look, they're two different movies, and they both are perfect in what they're going for. Although, if I had to do a ranking, I think I would put Scream above Black Christmas, but Halloween above Scream.
Interesting. I might put Scream above Halloween.
I could, you know what? I could see it. Like, if you put Black Christmas above Halloween, I'm fucking throwing a chair at you.
I gotta rewatch both. I gotta do a double feature.
Black Christmas does rule. It just, it bummed me out when I saw that take going around. Because it's just going to be... Remember when you texted me in the middle of Big Trouble in Little China, and you were like, what if I don't love it this time? And I was watching it, so then I had to watch the whole fucking movie being like, what the fuck is this fucking going to say? And then I was like, if I watch Black Christmas, I'm just going to think about these people who think it's better than Halloween. Because I have a really healthy attitude about movies and opinions. Anyway, I like how you said Casey Becker and her boyfriend.
Oh, yeah, Steve.
Well, it just makes me think that it's like the headline is like, Casey Becker, boyfriend, murder.
It's like, that was a kid too, guys.
Do we want to just give away... We should just talk about who did it. Because that'll be important in our discussion.
Yes, it's fucking Skeet Ulrich and Matthew Lillard.
And Scooby-Doo. No, not Scooby-Doo. No. Fucking Shaggy-Doo.
Shaggy.
Shaggy.
Did you say Shaggy-Doo?
In some versions, he's Shaggy-Doo. In some versions. It's like, I think it's Shaggy Norville Roberts or something like that.
Wow.
I think that's the real name, but some versions they've done Shaggy-Doo.
Hey, is Scooby-Doo like a perfect like love letter to horror stuff? Because a bunch of other riffs on like horror ensembles will include like a Shaggy type. Again, Cabin in the Woods has the Shaggy type, where it's just openly a stoner. This one literally has Shaggy in it, which is foresight, you know, which is just us like having hindsight to that. But like, is there something there? Because the kids stuff is like really
it's
fun.
Hanna-Barbera cynically trying to tap into youth culture at the time.
Well, yeah, but like, did it work? Because it's still like perpetuating in horror stuff. Like, it.
I think it kind of worked, but also like they made like someone a few years ago did a thread of all the Scooby-Doo ripoffs that Hanna-Barbera did that are like the same basic plot, and almost all of them had like the stoner guy kind of.
Yeah, and then there's the animal and everything like that.
Yeah, like.
But like, you know, I mean, like I think the longevity of the Scream franchise, apart from, spoiler alert, me thinking most of them are actually quite good, is like the characters, like Dewey, Sidney, Gale, like people like them, and you know, people like Randy also, who does not get very far in the franchise, but
It is kind of nuts. Jamie Kennedy is really good in this.
Yeah, what the fuck is that? Because
And
he's
like
never
he was
been
never
that good
good
ever
in
again.
anything ever again.
Yeah, and like look, like I'm a guy who like loves most of the Tremors sequels, even though they're not great.
Oh yeah, he was in that new one. I've totally forgot.
He's in 2 of them.
Oh my god,
And they're really bad.
Wow, that's a shame. How did those like go off the rails?
Here's the thing for diehard fans, the very last one they did, it's pretty solid. It's good.
Okay, I did. You know what?
Yeah.
I didn't see like it's A Cold Day in Hell is the new one.
Yeah, no. That's the 6th one. The final entry in the Burt Gummer saga.
Oh, okay.
Is it's a riff on The Most Dangerous Game, but with Tremors. And you know they don't have the budget to really pull it off, but like for a direct-to-video sequel to Tremors, it's pretty.
I love Michael Gross just like still showing up to do Tremor movies.
Oh yeah.
Like,
No,
that's
he's great.
That's always great.
Yeah, sorry to the Scream movie. I just need to gush about my love of Burt Gummer for a second, who would vote for Trump. And
yeah, that's the problem, is he would. But you know what? Maybe he might be one guy, though, where he wouldn't vote for Trump because he agreed with his politics, but because he hoped he would bring about the nuclear apocalypse faster.
You know what? Yeah. which is something fun in like fiction. It is not something I want in real life. But yeah, no, yeah, even Jamie Kennedy's like bad in those, but he's really good in these. Like, what the fuck is that?
Tremors 2 is one of the movies from my childhood that like really frightened me.
Tremors 2 rocks.
Tremors 2 rocks, but like it's one of these things where like Tremors 1 sets up the rules about like how to get around the like graboids, you know?
Mm-hmm. And then Tremors 2 is like, not anymore.
And then Tremors 2 is like, no, now not only are they not underground, but they can sense your like heat or whatever.
Yeah, they make them.
And that
Predator.
like terrified me because I didn't know how to beat that.
Oh, okay.
Which is like how horror movies used to scare me as a kid when like I didn't know how I could beat the monster.
Oh, okay, well, they show you
and
how
hey,
to do it.
You know what? I was gonna say though, Scream, and I think one thing that maybe gets held against Scream is that the opening is so much about like guessing the horror films, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And I think people think that's what the movie is, and it's like no, it's just that one scene. Like they only ever quiz them in that one scene, you know?
Yeah, I mean he does ask Sydney what her favorite like scary movie is.
He does do the favorite scary, but he
like,
doesn't quiz her. Like,
and
Drew Barrymore.
No, I think you're totally right, and I think that was part of like my false recollection of it was like, oh, it's just a film that's kind of like riffing on other films, and it's like it's not. It is trying to like, and I'm willing to bet this is more Craven than Williamson, but it is trying to like kind of get people to think about their relationship to the films that they like consume, I guess.
Yeah,
in a way.
yeah.
And I wouldn't say it's like it's super like critical of the teens. I think it is critical of like the things that allow these kind of like violent things that were once just like kind of popular on the screen kind of start appearing on like public access news, you know?
Yeah.
Which, you know, to a degree, I would tell Mr. Williamson if he was still with us, or Mr. Craven if he was still with us, like
Kevin Williamson,
no, Kevin Williamson is
wherever
alive.
you are.
He's like, I'm still over here. No one cares. I'm sorry, but like, no, I would tell him like, this is kind of more about Vietnam in a way, like through that lens, you know.
And I
that
will
was like
say
the first war that like showed people like what war actually is, and it wasn't fucking John Wayne riding a horse.
Yeah. And I will say it's very critical of like the news media, but I think it does better than a lot of other similar films do.
Mm-hmm.
Like I was thinking of Die Hard because I watched Die Hard at Christmas because of course I did because I'm like
fuck
fucking
yeah,
obvious.
absolutely every year. Sorry everyone,
and,
I know
you know,
it's like
and that's
obnoxious
got-
now, but like it's Die Hard, it rocks.
That's got like the terrible reporter in it, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And he gets punched in the face at the end. And I think that's a movie where people like walk away from and go like, see, the real villain here is freedom of the press. And it's like, no, like, and at the same time when like, and then that's juxtaposed with a cop learning to murder again, which is like, wow, these two things have aged weird. Like,
Oh, they've aged terribly, but Die Hard is still a perfect film.
no, it's like, you know, I'm not gonna, it's Die Hard.
Yeah,
but,
yeah. I also don't need to defend Die Hard, of course.
But this one has Gail Weathers played fucking fantastically by Courtney Cox.
Oh yeah, she's so good. All the cast members are like killer in these movies.
It was like in the middle of Friends when she did this. Like,
Yeah,
which is kind of nuts.
Kind of a like, I don't know if I was like her agent, I'd be like, really, you want to do that now? Like, which is why I would be a terrible Hollywood agent. But like, what a fucking great choice.
I think I heard her in interviews where like she was like, I was on Friends for so long, and you were playing kind of like, you know, like friendly people. She's like, I wanted to play someone who was just like a real bitch. I think that's exactly what she said in an interview.
That fucking rocks. Good for her.
But like Gail Weathers, she sucks. She's like an exploitation like news person. She doesn't really get better in the sequels. But she ends up kind of being the hero. Like she helps at the end of the movie, you know?
Yeah.
Like it's her that like, which is like a nice thing to do where it's like, yeah, you know, what she's doing is wrong, but that doesn't make her a bad person. Which I find that an interesting balance.
Yeah, I mean, the character stuff in these movies is so good, like, across the board, honestly. Even when the sequels kind of maybe don't live up to this first one. They, which we'll talk about how we're going to approach that later, because we haven't totally figured it out yet.
Yeah,
but,
we're not sure about the sequels yet.
But, like, I do really love that, like, the characters aren't, like, perfect human beings, you know? It's like Randy, when he's listing off the rules, he's like, oh, I can't have sex. And I think also people are kind of drawn to that as like a criticism now, where it's like, it's not the film saying people have to be like perfect saints, because none of these people are, except maybe Dewey, which I will talk about for the new film, because if Dewey dies on film, I die in real life.
Dewey like almost dies in every movie though.
I know, it's great.
It's one of those where like he like basically like gets like stabbed like 30. He's been stabbed so many times in his life, and then at the end of the movie he's always like in the ambulance like, I'm all right.
Yeah.
Like, which is such a funny thing to keep putting in these movies.
I know. Please, I can't. If Dewey dies, I will have no reason to live.
Well, that's the thing about that where it's really the question is, how much do people want to put up with David Arquette anymore?
Oh, yeah.
Like, that will really be the influence.
But didn't you know you can't kill David Arquette?
I guess.
No, that was,
didn't he do a thing?
Yeah, hang on, let me find that.
He also became a professional wrestler very briefly.
Yeah, you cannot kill David Arquette. It's a documentary about himself when he did professional wrestling for a bit.
Yeah.
And he got fucked up.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I know. I haven't seen it.
But like he was famously had like a very like public kind of breakdown like of like his marriage and shit, like because he was married to Courtney Cox.
Yeah.
And they like broke up like while the new Scream was filming, I think.
No, they broke up after Scream 4.
Okay, but I think it began like before that. It just like wasn't official. Because I remember that being like part of the story, part of the buzz around Scream 4. And then like he went on fucking Howard Stern and like was like talking of like, and was like very like just like open, and then fucking Courtney Cox went on there.
Oh god.
It was wild. I remember like that was like in like peak my dad listening to Howard Stern every day.
Okay, I did not know this. Jesus.
And then like so like I kind of watched that whole thing like play out. Like it was wild. Are they gonna have screen time together in the new one?
I believe so, yeah, which is kind of nuts.
It's nuts, but you know, maybe they're on like good terms. It's just like, hey, maybe we shouldn't be married, you know? Which is like totally fine.
That is what you want out of that situation, you know? Because like you know, like my parents are divorced, and thankfully, like I think that was the best.
Yeah, we talked about this. Yeah.
Like I don't know. Sometimes it just doesn't work out, and that's like good. You know?
Children of divorce. Speaking of children of divorce, Billy Loomis.
Everyone's favorite.
I gotta say one thing before I forget, because then I'm gonna talk about a national tragedy.
Yeah.
But,
oh god.
The opening is so great. We talked about all that, but like I love just the that it like turns into a real tragedy by the end, where like they can hear their daughter dying over the phone, which is just nuts.
Yeah, like it's which is so fucked up.
That's something that like again I think Black Christmas does really well. Where Black Christmas, the first girl killed in Black Christmas is like the innocent, like it's like the girl she doesn't really get along with her sorority sisters, and she's packing because she's gonna meet her father tomorrow so she can go home for the holidays. That's the first victim in Black Christmas, and she dies arguably the most brutally of anyone in it, with the cellophane wrapping around her head, you know?
Yeah, and she's just there for the movie.
And the whole movie she's just propped up in that fucking window. It's like, that's super cruel. And then the next day we meet her father, And then we have to spend the rest of the movie with her father, like, trying to find his daughter, which he never does, by the way. And then at the end of the movie, like, when he finds out that she's most likely dead, he, like, collapses, which is something that these movies just don't do.
Mm-hmm.
Where, like, we don't see the victims. You know what's another movie that does it? Recently reclaimed movie, I would say.
I actually don't know.
Jennifer's Body.
Oh, yeah.
Jennifer's Body. Like, basically everyone that dies in it, we see their grieving parents.
Yeah.
Like, which is kind of nuts.
Yeah. Fuck, that movie rocks. And that's another one that kind of, like, allows you to kind of settle into the community. Like, Woodsboro is, like, I totally buy into the community of Woodsboro in the Scream movies. You know?
Mm-hmm. And then, just the other thing, just visual storytelling, the brilliance of the opening, is that the last thing Casey Becker does before she dies is she rips the Scream mask off, but the camera pans away so we don't see it, which puts into the audience's head that the movie is going to be about finding out who the killer is, you know? Mm-hmm. It's not going to be like escape mental patient or like deranged movie fan who has like a dark past, you know? It's going to be a whodunit, which is just such a nice little touch to put at the end of the scene. And I feel like that's something that like other filmmakers would forget to do, whereas they would just kind of tell us at a certain point that this is what the movie is. Yeah,
like, I don't agree with this take, but a lot of the criticisms, and I would say it's justified. I don't think this is a bad take, because you're talking about the filmmaking at least, but, like, the new Matrix maybe isn't as visually precise as, like, the other Matrix films. Mm-hmm. You know, like, it's not always completely telling you the story. I think it is in a different way. I think it's a lot to do with the lighting, but I think that is a problem with a lot of, like, movies right now.
Yeah.
Like, it's even my frustration is even stemming to something like Coda. Have you seen Coda? It's like,
you know what? I haven't.
Okay, it's on Apple TV. It's a cute little film. It got a lot of backlash because everyone was like, "This is the popular film from Sundance," and it's like it was clearly made.
All
for,
the Sundance films
$5.
get like massive backlash.
I know, and
like...
this one, look, it's not perfect. I got a lot of beef with the way cinematography is used nowadays, and how if you're just shooting coverage, you're not really shooting a movie. But like it was a cute little film. It was coming from a very good place. Obviously, there are significantly worse films to get upset about. But even I couldn't, like, get past, like, fuck, this is just, like, okay, you're getting coverage of a bike ride 3 times, you know? And, like, again, for, like, a movie made on a ham sandwich budget, it shouldn't be against the movie. It's just something I definitely am catching more and more as we go on. And thankfully, at the end of 2021, there was a lot of great films with, like, great visual storytelling. So it's not, like, dead. It's just something that we're running into a lot right now. And Scream is, like, just so fucking efficient at that.
You think there's also a weird thing of, like, because film festivals kind of monopolized by directors who, like, have careers and, like, are already established, that we kind of forget that film festivals are mainly there for, like, indie filmmakers.
Yeah.
And, like, their first film, it's okay if it's, like, not perfect.
Yeah.
Like, it's supposed to be like, oh, this is a new voice. Hopefully they'll make better stuff going forward. Yeah, that doesn't seem to really happen that much anymore.
No, it doesn't. I think people forget, like, it was, like, 2006, 2007, when, like, Mark Duplass and his brother were, like, trying to figure out a way to, like, break into the industry, and they filmed a 7-minute short in, like, one take on their DV tape player. Mm-hmm. And it won the award for, like, the best short film at Sundance that year. and, you know, like, but you watch it and it's like, oh, they actually built, like, a rhythm to, like, the scenes and stuff like that. And it's like, you can do, like, a lot, and those movies just don't really get the chance right now. And I don't know what to do to change that. But I wish they did. You know, again, Wes Craven. His early stuff I wouldn't say is perfect. But he's clearly got something, you know?
Well, that's the thing that, like, is really frustrating about right now, is that, like, a lot of the guys monopolizing horror are clearly directors that they want to make other movies, but they can't get them made, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because horror tends to make money. Even, like,
they have to go to the horror genre. Well, horror right now is, like, the only genre where you can still get a mid-budget movie made. Yeah. You know?
And, like, hey, like, I'm not beefing with horror, because there's, like, tons of great shit out there.
Yeah.
But, like...
No, it's something where it's, like, people kind of, like, they'll shit on something like Midsommar, which is, like, you know, kind of like an... I don't want to say, like, art film, but, like, Ari Aster is coming from a different angle than, like, a horror guy, you know?
Yeah.
Like, Ari Aster would be making other films if he could. He's kind of doing horror because that's what he can do, you know?
Yeah. Also, when Martin Scorsese praises your horror film, you keep fucking making horror.
Yeah.
Like...
But what I was going to say is that, like, one thing I do love about horror is that horror does have that weird, like, history of, like, sometimes it's done by complete amateurs, sometimes it's done by classy filmmakers. It has, like, a weird give and take throughout its history that I like. And you can just embrace all of it. It's weird to see people just kind of rejecting the more quote-unquote elevated horror. Probably because of the marketing term elevated horror.
Mm-hmm.
But for me, like, horror is always good because it's all, like, there's always something to even like bad horror films, you know? Which I can't say about a lot of other genres. Like, bad action movies are just bad. Bad comedies are, like, fucking crimes. Like... But, like, bad horror films can still be fascinating. But, like, I'm a little worried right now that we aren't getting the weird, like... We're not getting young Wes Craven, where, like, he can fuck up for, like, a decade almost and not be, like, a great director, but, like, doing interesting stuff. And or, like, John Carpenter, who, like, very clearly understood the camera from, like, early on, but also, you know, it took him a while to, like, really get a hang of things, right?
Yeah.
And... like, that's frustrating. And there's also, like, pushback just from movie fans in general, it feels like, to, like, they won't let anyone, like, if you suck at the start, people are going to be like, oh, you think this digital photography is good, you fucking idiot?
Yeah, I mean, like, it's fucking 2022 at the time of uploading this, and people are still going on about, like, well, you know, film just looks better than digital. And it's like, if you actually know anything about, like, a post-production pipeline...
Yeah, but even, like, look, I'm not even saying that. I'm not even trying to make that argument about film versus digital. I'm just saying,
No,
like...
yeah. I know that people are fucking stupid and don't know what they're talking
There
about.
are dozens of horror films from any year back in the 70s and 80s that were shot on film that look terrible.
Yeah.
But they're still interesting. And, like, even when they don't look great, they're still kind of fascinating. I don't get why we haven't... There has been a weird embrace of, like, terrible looking digital in a weird way, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like I want to... I feel like we just kind of go, like, digital bad except when it's done good. And I'm like, yeah, but, like, what about, like, interesting bad, you know?
Like,
and I don't hear as much
This isn't
about
a bad movie. You and I both are, like, 5 stars immediately when we talk about this movie. I would love a horror movie to look like Miami Vice all the way through.
Yeah.
You know? Like, I mean, Blair Witch Project kind of has that with the early DV tape stuff and the 16 millimeter. Like, that's what I wanted out of the new Blair Witch. I was like, just fucking iPhone that shit. What the fuck are you using, like, a professional camera for? I
think you forget that movie already exists. Paranormal Activity, The Ghost Dimension.
Oh, I was like, I like the first 3. I will go to bat for the first 3 Paranormal Activities.
I probably would, too. It's been a while since I watched them.
Yeah, I mean, remember they're on ham sandwich budgets?
They're on ham sandwich budgets, and, like, the second one doesn't make any sense. You wouldn't put your security cameras there.
No. But, like, the third one has, like, these incredible setups, and it's like, yeah, the videotape probably isn't in 16:9, but that's probably not historically accurate to the 80s, but, like...
Oh, yeah, that did bug me.
Yeah,
like,
and
that's
totally get it. Like, usually that wouldn't be a nitpick thing, but, like, that's something I had a problem with Mank. Remember Mank?
Oh, yeah, Mank.
Yeah, I'm like, why the fuck is this movie in Scope? Scope didn't exist yet. You know?
You know what? I was fine with that. I'm weird. I have weird takes on Mank. I'll
yeah. No, Mank should be the next killer. I don't know.
Mank 2.
Yeah. The Mank is
Dawn.
on this poster. But anyways, yeah, I love the shitty digital look. Oh my god. Lake Mungo. Have you ever seen Lake Mungo?
Oh, Lake Mungo's fantastic. Lake Mungo is, like, one of the best movies best horror movies of the last decade.
No, fuck that. It's one of the best movies of the last decade.
It is pretty great.
Yeah, or 2 decades. Fuck, it came out like 2008. But yeah, that movie's incredible.
And then I got to give a shout out to our boy Sean Baker out there.
Oh yeah.
Recently reviewed Lake Mungo and was like, the reason this movie works is because the interviews were shot on 16 millimeter.
Oh my god.
And I'm like, dude, the best scene in that movie is on a cell phone camera.
I know. And you know what's so fucking funny? I've been talking for years before I saw Lake Mungo, or even knew it existed. I was like, I would love to see some fucking shitty digital shot on like a cell phone. Just, you know, like really lean into like the aesthetic of like the mid to late 2000s, you know, because like there's a look there that we haven't really defined yet.
Yeah.
And then I saw that and I was like, they fucking did it, and no one was talking about it. Shame on everyone.
Yeah, shame on the world.
Yeah, go watch Lake Mungo. It's unbelievably depressing, but it's so good.
It's an unbelievably depressing film, and it's like a 90-minute build up to one scare, and it's fantastic.
Yeah, and that one scare will stay with you for like the rest of your life.
You'll never lose it. It'll be there the rest of your life, which is kind of the point.
You will not want to walk around at night on your phone ever again.
Yeah. I saw that. I watched that like fucking alone, like in the middle of the night one night. Like I just put it on, and it was just like, Jesus Christ. All right. Now, have we all placed our bets as to what national tragedy I am going to be discussing?
The last time we talked about Columbine. So
well, guess what? We're talking about Columbine again.
Okay. Well.
This is the best movie ever made about the Columbine shooting.
Even though it happened...
Even though it was made 3 years beforehand.
Okay.
Because the Columbine thing was like... Those were kids who, like, they very much reference movies and shit like that, blah, blah, blah. I don't know, like, there's a lot I could go into, but I'm trying to think of how to approach it, honestly, because I got a lot to say.
Okay, I thought you were going to talk about the actual thing that influenced the making of the film writing.
No, there's real murders that influenced it. I'm not going to talk about that.
Okay.
I am unfortunately going to talk about some of the murders that this movie, quote unquote, inspired.
Oh, goody.
But that will come up in a moment. So Columbine, 2 kids shot up their whole school, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it still sticks around in our mind for whatever reason. It's still like the shooting. I assume kids are moving past it now that like shootings just keep happening. That like we live like in a post Stoneman Douglas era, like that we live in a post that the poor elementary school getting shot up, which is still like the center of a bunch of conspiracy theories, because that's the only way you can say guns are cool after that, is to say it was a false flag terrorist attack.
Jesus.
Like, because it's just so awful. But I think something that sets Columbine apart from the other shootings, and there's a couple other instances, but not many, is that it was 2 shooters, you know?
Mm-hmm.
It was not one shooter. It was 2 shooters, 2 guys basically feeding off each other, which is a dyad thing. It happens in murders a lot. You know, Leopold and Loeb. Are you aware of Leopold and Loeb?
No, actually.
Like, one of the earliest, like, quote-unquote thrill killings ever committed. And it's one of those things where one of the killers is usually, like, the architect of the thing, and the other is, like, the manipulated one, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's... And then, have you seen Hitchcock's Rope?
Fucking long time ago.
But, like, Rope is, like, about 2 killers, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Like... Those 2 guys, they murder a friend. It's a thrill killing. It's entirely inspired by Leopold and Loeb, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there's the one in it that is like the charming sociopath, and the one who's like can't handle what he has done, you know?
Yeah.
And it's a very real psychological phenomenon. And the same thing happened with Columbine. And Columbine, I gotta be careful here, because there's a lot of strong opinions around Columbine. There's a lot of people that to this day insist that the Columbine shootings happened because the kids were bullied. And I have to disagree on that. And I'm just going to say, I'm going to say like what going forward is my opinion and not a definitive statement on the Columbine shooting, just for anyone out there. Because there's also oddly weird fans of the Columbine killers. I think we've talked about this on other episodes.
I think we talked about it on The Matrix, yeah.
Yeah. Also, we might have talked about it on the episode where I revealed I know a lot about serial killers, which was weird. That was Hannibal, right?
That was Hannibal,
episode.
Yeah.
I'm about to reveal I know a lot about the Columbine shooting, so get fucking ready. But hey, don't. It's there's a reason for it this time.
Okay.
But a lot of people think it was because they were bullied. Now, Columbine is fascinating because a lot of their journals are publicly available. You can find basically the entirety of their journals online if you go looking for it. And they don't mention being bullied in their journals that much. The one kid was very clearly a manic depressive. The other, this is another thing that's controversial. Some people believe the other kid was like a psychopath. Now, you can't really diagnose that without giving someone a psychological evaluation, right? Like, the person still needs to be alive to do that.
Yeah.
Spoilers, the Columbine killers both are dead.
Did you just say spoilers?
I did say spoilers for the Columbine shooting.
Oh, okay.
A thing a lot of people miss is that the plan for those two idiots was that they tried to blow up their school. They brought in homemade propane bombs and set them up in the cafeteria. The plan was they were going to set them off at like the peak of like people being in the cafeteria for lunch. They even did like reconnaissance where they were checking at what time were most people in the cafeteria. Like, that's how fucked up these kids were. Well, because they were idiots, their bombs didn't work. And the plan was for the bombs to go off to blow up the cafeteria, and then as the people evacuated the building, they were going to shoot them. That was the plan. Bombs didn't go off, so then they had to just walk up and start shooting people. They could have killed hundreds of people if their bombs had worked. And we'd be talking about Columbine in a very different way than we talk about it now. But because they didn't work, we approach it from this weird angle. I'm bringing all of this up because there is something in the Stu and Billy relationship that just feels very on point with the Columbine killers. And I can't like totally explain it, but there's totally the Billy Loomis angle and the Stu kind of being the manipulated one, you know? Like, you can totally read it there that he's the one following orders. Billy's always ordering him around by the end of it. And, all right, the reason I know so much about the Columbine shooting is because when I was young, like 18, I got in my head that I was going to write a brilliant screenplay about a school shooting. I was like, I'm going to say something real about American society. And as you can imagine, it might be one of the worst things ever written by someone. And one of the problems that I ran into, and that is incredibly difficult to get across, especially about murderers, especially spree killers, is how incredibly dumb and overconfident they are. That especially psychopaths, like, we always love the idea of like the charming, intelligent psychopath, right? Like, that is the media thing, like, of like all psychopaths are like these weird like masterminds, and in real life they're not. They're just super overconfident, and they're willing to do things that the average person wouldn't do. And Columbine is a perfect illustration of that, because like I said, they planned to blow up the school. Their plan failed miserably ultimately. They couldn't handle it. Like, they fucked it up, but they thought it was like a perfect plan. I think Scream taps into the idea that these two guys are incredibly dumb. That Stu and Billy are incredibly dumb. And one of the things that I love about it is it's very clear that if they had gotten away with these murders, if they had killed everyone and then pretended to be dead, 5 minutes after the movie ended, they would have been caught. Like, they would not have gotten away with this.
Yeah.
And a big part of it is, they left a lot of people alive. Like, how many times did they shoot or, like, stab people that ended up living, you know?
Yeah.
Like, Dewey lives, Gail lives, fucking Randy lives. Like, all three of those people that were injured. And then the other thing I always think about is, like, let's say if they did manage to get away with it and they're being investigated by the police, and yeah, they've been stabbed, right? Forensic analysis, first guy look at Billy's shirt is going to be like, hey, dude, how'd all this corn syrup get on your shirt? And there's, like, a hilarious level of overconfidence. And it's something where, as I tried to write my terrible screenplay, a thing I kept running into that I had problems with is that there's a lot of movies out there about mass shootings, and no matter how you approach them, they are movies that will be idolized by people who want to commit mass violence. Like, that is, I'm not saying the art made them do it. I'm just saying that that kind of art attracts those kind of people, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I ran into a problem of, like, I didn't really know how to communicate that people who want to murder a lot of people are idiots. Like, there's a lot we can say there, but it's something that, I don't know, it's something that movies struggle with, to portray that sort of idiocy. And Scream is the only one that kind of gets it right, where these guys are morons and they stab themselves a bunch of times at the end and, like, basically kill themselves, you know? And then the other thing is, I think there's a great Wes Craven quote that went around a little while back where he talked about Scream, and he was like, these two idiots are guys who have never been punched. Like, they don't know what pain is like, which is why they think they can kill all their classmates. And the moment they get injured, they, like, fall apart, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Which is, I wish do you know the quote I'm talking about?
No.
I gotta look it up real quick because it's a great quote. See if I can find it real quick.
Well, I'll say one of the things that I think, or at least one of the films that kind of taps into, like, the villains being idiots, I mean, is the completely non-controversial Last Jedi, which, you know, is totally, like, a different type of film, different level of like, budget. There's a whole category of differences, and I don't think anyone on the planet has ever compared the two films together. But, like, you know, Kylo Ren, like, even people that don't like the sequels, what was the big thing that people took away from The Force Awakens, for better or worse, was, like, Kylo Ren is kind of an idiot, and he's an angry, like, child who never, like, learned, like responsibility and, like, how to control, like their emotions and rage, yes. Right? And then Last Jedi takes that to an insane degree with the First Order, where Hux is, like, just kind of squawking like a bird a lot of the time, yeah. Which is great. I think is fantastic. Where it's like, yeah, these fucking fascists are just, like, they're idiots. They're not, like, the all powerful.
Well, it's not only are they fascists, they're, like, cosplaying fascists. You know?
Yeah, like, which is, like, the stroke of genius in those first two movies.
Which is another thing that I could just say, like, a lot of, like, especially one of the Columbine killers, at least, like, very much, like, emulated the, like loved the Nazis. Mm-hmm. Like, and I'm not, like, not in a white supremacist kind of way, in a, like, I like mass violence kind of way. And it's a weird thing of, like, this guy thought he could, like, be the next, like, terror that, like, brought damage to the universe, you know?
Yeah.
But continue what you were saying about Last Jedi.
Well, I just think that's something that people need to, like, recognize more, and I do wish more movies did it, because besides, like, Scream and the Star Wars sequels until The Rise of Skywalker, like, there's not really a lot of recognition about, like, these terrible people being also some of the stupidest on the planet, you know?
Yeah.
Like, Elon Musk isn't, like, a murderer, but he is an idiot, and he is a terrible person, you know?
And a deeply insecure guy. Like, more importantly, like, that's really what's going on here. Like,
yeah.
That's the other thing with Trump, too, is that, like, Trump is just, like, so nakedly insecure as a human being.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and it's so weird that we don't talk about that. Because it reveals a lot about insecurities that run real deep in this country. And another thing that Scream taps into that I don't think I can think of many other slasher films that do, but Scream really taps into that. Ultimately, this is a movie about guys who hate women. Like, it is not like everyone goes like, oh, it's guys, they watch a bunch of horror movies trying to, like, emulate it, stuff like that. It's like at the end of this movie, early in the movie, we set up that Casey Becker dated Matthew Lillard's character, and then she dumped him to date her new boyfriend, who was also murdered. So, like, that's one thing. And then at the end of the film, when, like, Steve Ulrich's giving his whole speech of, like, Skeet Ulrich is giving his whole speech where he's like, do killers need motives? Like, he's trying to be, like, cool. And then he admits, like, no, the reason I'm doing this is because your mother had an affair with my father, and my mother abandoned me because of it. And that's why I hate women. And even Matthew Lillard, like, kind of is, like, shocked by that revelation. But it's it's a brilliant stroke because a lot of murderers, real life murderers, male serial killers, are driven by a extreme hatred of women. And on top of that, a lot of that hatred is driven by a complicated relationship with your mother. Like that's where a lot of that comes from. And there's a really interesting theory kind of about the serial killer boom that happened in like the 70s, that a lot of it is the baby boomer generation, and like they have a very real relationship with their mothers, who that's a generation where women kind of finally got to be in the workplace when all the men were away at war, and then the moment men came back, women got forced out of the workplace again, you know? Mm-hmm. And it led to like a weird psychological effect where there was like an increase in parental abuse. And so a guy's mother, you know, abuses him younger, and then he projects his mother onto all women. That's just a theory. I don't know how true that is. But it's interesting that this movie taps into that. I can't think of another horror movie that really underlines like this is about a hatred of women, you know? Mm-hmm. Can you think of one?
The 2019 Best Picture nominee, Bombshell.
But that's not a slasher film.
I know. I'm just kidding. Jesus, that movie. No.
I thought you were going to say really Promising Young Women for a second, and then I was gonna be like, no.
Oh.
But
I got nothing there. But no, I don't know. I think a lot of movies play kind of coy, like those, like they leave it open to like either interpretation, or they don't fully like commit to the idea because it might be seen as too provocative by a producer or something. Well, like that.
There's definitely always like that weird like Freudian subtext to a lot of slasher films, mm-hmm. you know, with like the knife and penetration and shit like that. And I will say, guess what this movie ends with? After the reveal and there's the fight, and then like there's the final fight with Neve Campbell and Skeet Ulrich, and Skeet Ulrich has got her even though he's all fucked up. What does she do to him? She penetrates him. She sticks her finger into his stab wound.
Oh fuck, that's right.
That's how she stops him.
Oh god.
And also, what is this movie really about? Like, what is the killer's plan? The killer's plan is to have sex with his girlfriend. Because he thinks if he makes her not a virgin anymore, that they'll be able to kill her. That's what these idiots think.
Yeah.
And he has sex with her, and then guess what? She fucking kicks their asses because they're morons. And like again, that's another hatred of women. It's like if a woman has sex, then she's like a lesser woman. And it's playing again. People remember that scene where he's like, you can't do drugs, you can't have sex. And it's like, no, the movie, like, they say that in the film, but the film is in direct opposition of that. Mm-hmm. And again, to bring it back to The Last Jedi, everyone remembers Kylo Ren saying, like, kill the past. And then, like, people are like, no, he's the villain of the movie. Like, people took that as, like, the actual mission statement of the film, you know? Mm-hmm. And that's not what The Last Jedi is about. And again, but to bring it back to Columbine for just half a second. The other weird thing about Columbine is that, like, it changed the way we approach school shootings. Like, ever since Columbine, the protocol is if there's a shooting happening, if there's an active shooter, the police have to go in. They have to go in and stop the guy no matter what. Whereas Columbine, they weren't sure if it was a hostage situation or a shooting, so there's, like, a long standoff between the shooters and the police. A weird thing that happens that isn't discussed enough, and is a really revealing moment, is that there's this weird, like, 30 minutes before the Columbine killers killed themselves, there's a weird 30 minutes where they just walked around the school and didn't kill anyone. And they just walked around, they, like, shot guns into the walls a little bit, but they didn't kill anyone. And now, part of it is a psychological thing of, like, there's a weird, like, adrenaline rush people get if they kill someone. You know about that, right?
Like, now I do.
Well, I mean, no, it happens even like people like in war, like you can kind of like put your emotions aside for that moment, but then you crash a little bit later. So like that kind of happened. But the other thing is that one of the fucking Columbine kids, who was an idiot, I want to stress this. It was an idiot, the mastermind of it all especially. They had gotten guns illegally, and then he sawed off his shotgun because he knows that what you're supposed to do, because that's the quote-unquote cool thing to do with a shotgun. He sawed it off too much, so the recoil on it was, like, massive. And that's another thing is there's a lot of video of Columbine out there. You can see them, like, practice shooting. The recoil on it is, like, almost, like, knocking him over when he's at, like, a gun range. When he went to shoot someone with the shotgun a little bit into the murder, the recoil was so strong it came back and broke his nose.
Jesus.
Yeah, he broke his nose, and after that, he, like, stopped shooting people. Like, I think he shot a few more, but, like he really cooled down after that because suddenly he experienced real pain for probably the first time in his fucking life, which is what happens in this movie. Again, 3 years before Columbine, which is just why I find it so fascinating. And then the other thing I have to bring up is that there have been a few quote-unquote killings inspired by this movie. There have been a few people who have put on Scream masks and killed people. And in a lot of times it was like 2 people did it. Now, there was one a little while back, I can't remember it, where these guys were straight up like, we're going to do Scream. It was these high school kids, like, we're going to do Scream. We're going to do our own version of Scream. And they videotaped themselves planning it, which is a real smart thing to do, by the way, to videotape yourself planning the murders. And then after you get caught by police, leading them to where you buried the videotape. A really smart thing to do. And they killed one of their high school classmates. And they were like, we're going to do Scream. And they were like, we're going to be we're mastermind killers. We're going to go on killing people and do just like Scream did. And they got caught like 4 days after the first murder, right? Mm-hmm. And they, like, immediately... You can find their interrogation video online. They got, like, destroyed, like, almost instantly by police. And it's another one of these guys who are just, like, overconfident, stupid murderers. And it's like... And even then, like, a movie like Scream, which, like, this movie ends with these guys stabbing themselves like morons and being revealed to be idiots. And even this movie can still kind of, like, attract people who want to commit violence. Like, I don't know, I just find that so, like, fascinating in a weird way.
Craven clearly, like, struck at, like, the heart of something, like, in American culture.
Oh, by the way, those kids who killed their classmate, they also killed a girl that, like, they had a crush on who refused their advances, you know? So they talked about, like, Scream all they want, and at the end of the day, guess what? They hated women. Like, it's always that. It's always a hatred of women. Like, yeah,
it's weird that keeps popping up in American society. A hatred of women leading to outbursts of violence.
It's weird that it's not talked about a ton, you know? It's weird that we don't talk about why that happens. And again, it's like Scream is like the one like slasher example that I think like really cuts deep to it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I mean, you get like the weird 80s slashers that like, oh, the movies hate women, like, which is another weird angle for the whole thing.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I was going to kind of build up to this point, but, like, I think it's safe to say Scream is, like, one of the most important films to come out of American cinema.
Yeah.
I think it's one of the peak, like, American films.
It's a masterpiece, and it should be, like, canon. It should be in the AFI Top 100. Like...
Maybe, yeah.
It really should. It is... Horror never gets its due, but, like, if you're going to put, like, 5 horror movies in there, Scream should be one of them. Like, it just is. Like, I came on here, we just did The Matrix, and, like, I was kind of like, I didn't want to put my gear too hard on the gas, because a lot of people really defend those movies. Scream is the one where I'm like, no, this movie's a masterpiece. And I'm not even, like, I can't even really get, like, super deep into it. Like, there's so much more going on here. And I think it's a brilliant movie. And it's rewarding on rewatch, especially when you know who did it. Like, there's such a great dynamic between Stu and Billy, where, like, you can see Stu being the one who, like, kind of wants to tell everyone that he's murdering his friends. Mm-hmm. And then Billy always having to shut him down.
Yeah, I mean, like, when you get, like, a new... This is, like, gonna be kind of a fucked up thing, but, like, when you get, like, a new hobby, you want to, like, share, like, your excitement about it. And this is just, like, the worst version of that. This is the most horrendous, horrific version of that.
Yeah, no, it's right, but it's also a true thing. Like, a lot of guys who want to kill people or do kill people, like, they want to tell you. Like, they want to leak it, you know?
Yeah, I mean, the idea... Like, this is something even I'm familiar with. Like, the idea that, like, they want to be caught just so... they have, like, the notoriety of it, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like, I mean, fame and, like, notoriety is a really big recurring through line in the Scream sequels. Not all the motivations, but at least for the killers, but, like, it's definitely something that carries through the saga, as it were.
And it is here. It's definitely more pronounced in the sequels, but it is here with Gail Weathers.
Mm-hmm.
Like, she is definitely the, like, through line of, like, tabloid journalism.
Yeah, and I mean, we talked about it a little bit already, but, like, I really like the idea that, like, she's the one chasing them more so than Billy and Stu, and then she has to kind of, like, put that aside to be the hero, and then by being the hero, she gets, like, that notoriety.
Yes.
Which is, like, maybe, like, a weird arc, but it's not, like, a wrong one.
Mm-hmm. I just think it's good that there's a movie where, like, there's a shitty reporter, but the end lesson isn't that, like, reporters suck, you know, like like that's been a real, like, thorn in my side lately.
Yeah, I mean, I
like,
talked about it back in, like, Far From Home, where, like, I fucking hate... I'm not crazy about it in general, but, like, I hate the idea that, like, J. Jonah Jameson is, like, some alt-right reporter now. And, like, it's in the PlayStation game, too, and, like, it came there first, and I'm fine with it, like, in one universe. I don't want it to be the only... like, kind of representation there. Like, how the fuck is the Tom Hardy Venom stuff, like, a better working class narrative than, like, anything in the MCU up to this point? And he's a reporter who, like, sticks to his guns, like, ethically. Yeah. What's up with that? Mm-hmm. Why is that the one?
I don't know. It is strange. It is. Maybe it's the genius of Avi Arad.
No. I'm willing to bet it's Tom Hardy, just because he's, like, a mastermind. That doesn't mean he's a good thing or a bad thing, but he's definitely guiding the ship on that franchise. And I kind of love it. But, yeah, I don't know. Reporters are getting weird on film and television.
Yeah.
Which is even stranger because Spotlight just won Best Picture, like, 7 years ago.
Well, because there's the only two versions of the newspaper story you can do, which is, like, Media Crime, which is, like, Richard Jewell from, like, a year ago. And then there's actually Media Will Save All of Us, and reporters are actually the heroes of society.
Right, yeah.
Like, that, which is, like, both are wrong. And both don't address the fundamental issue at the heart, which is the relationship between news and commerce, which is where the real problem is.
Yeah.
And I mean, I can't think of that much out there that really deals with that.
Oh, you know what? Our fucking boy, The Insider.
Yeah, The Insider, definitely. I mean, that's why that movie's brilliant.
I mean, that movie is like, if that's someone's favorite Michael Mann movie, I'll be like, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, I totally get it. Well, because that's a movie where, like, Al Pacino is, like, a stereotype of, like, the hero journalist, you know? Mm-hmm. And, like, the first half of that movie, you're kind of like when you watch Spotlight, where you're like, fuck yeah, journalism, real journalism, being the hero. And then the Insider then takes that turn in the middle where it was like, all right, now 60 Minutes is going to be the bad guys. Mm-hmm. And it's like, whoa.
And I mean, even remember, like, something else I've talked about before, but, like, I want to stress how fucked up it was that, like, when Michael Mann went on to 60 Minutes, or not 60 Minutes, on CNN to promote the film, and he was talking to that fucking asshat who's since been fired, Charlie Rose. Like, Charlie Rose was, like, downplaying, like, it's a much more fictionalized version of CNN. And Michael Mann is not someone who deals with fictionalized versions of anything, basically. He's like, no, well, I did a lot of research leading into this production, and, there's fictionalized elements, like the scene with the bullet in the mailbox in The Insider didn't happen. He stressed that. The relationship CNN producers had with that story is all true.
Yeah.
They really wanted to, like, shut it down for unethical reasons.
There was the controversy at that time that Mike Wallace, the real Mike Wallace, really came out against it and said that the movie didn't portray what he did accurately. And I think it did. I think that ultimately came out, but he was like, he really went to bat against it. And Mike Wallace is, like, kind of a, like, pillar of journalism of his era,
Mm-hmm.
And I think that didn't help the film. Even though Christopher Plummer gets the amazing scene where he just yells at that woman.
Oh, yeah. Christopher Plummer, so fucking great in that movie.
Yeah.
I mean, everyone's fucking great in that movie.
If Christopher Plummer in The Insider yelled at me, even if I was just acting in a scene, I would just go home and cry.
Yeah, people make fun of, like, oh, this is their Oscar scene. The Insider has, like, every scene where it's
every
someone's
scene
Oscar
is the
scene.
Oscar scene.
Yeah.
And then it's also hysterical where it's like, I don't think it won a single Oscar.
Yeah, I mean, 1999 was a pretty fucking great year for movies, so, like, that one I get, but, like, goddamn.
And I think it was that thing of, like, it was just kind of, I think Mike Wallace kind of fucked it a little bit, like, where he really went to bat against it.
Mm-hmm.
And he had friends in the news, so
yeah,
that'll affect things.
Yeah, fuck you, Charlie Rose.
All right, I got just a few more things I really want to talk about.
All right, let's do it.
That are a little more scatterbrained.
Okay, I got some scatterbrain.
One, Matthew Lillard's performance in this is brilliant. Also, he reminds me a lot of the fucking angry video game nerd.
Oh, no.
There is something in his performance that makes me think of the angry video game nerd.
Matthew Lillard, I just want to say, is one of our greatest character actors, and he pops up in something fantastic once in a while, but, like, why doesn't he take off ever?
I don't know. He should be, like, a great character actor. I think because they tried to make him, like, funny man, like he's always going to be, like, supporting funny man in movies.
Yeah, like, he was in Twin Peaks: The Return.
Yeah.
And he's incredible in, like, 2 scenes.
Yeah, he's also in a movie. Did you ever see The Descendants, the Alexander Payne film?
Yeah, that's a good movie.
He pops up in that, and he's great in that, too.
Yeah.
Like, and he's going up against people like fucking, like, George Clooney and fucking Robert Forster, like... It's he's a great character actor. I don't know why it hasn't taken off. I think they try to put him in a different lane than he was a fit for,
Mm-hmm.
And then he got thrown out of the fucking Scooby-Doo shit for a little bit. But I think thankfully we've all realized that was a mistake.
Yeah. Not to jump ahead too far or anything like that, but I try not to theorize too much about movies anymore. Is Stu alive?
You mean for, like, Scream 5?
Yes. I might have totally gone down the rabbit hole because I'm pretty excited about this one. Is he alive?
I don't think so, because he got a TV shoved on his head.
I'm just saying.
All right, I mean,
I don't know.
That movie better be good if that's what they're gonna do.
Oh no, totally. But I don't know. Those TVs were pretty hollow. That's not true. Those things were fucking heavy.
Also, great timing on the TV coming in his face when Jamie Lee Curtis is going to stab Michael Myers.
Yeah, that's great.
Which is, then they're also referenced later with Sydney. But hey, I love Lillard. I just love his performance as one, like, first time you watch it, he's like the idiot friend. Second time you watch it, as just a guy desperately wanting to tell everyone that he's a murderer.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he does such a... Also, I believe there is a scene in this where if you're a very astute or, like, paying attention viewer, there's one giveaway that he is the killer. Other than the scene when they're all at the fountain and, like, he just... Like, all he wants to talk about is the murders.
Yeah.
And then Billy has to keep telling him, hey, man, shut up. I think the twist is, like, you're not going to guess that it's two guys, which is a pretty good twist.
Mm-hmm.
For a whodunit film. But there's the scene where what's-his-name is listing off all the rules. And he's like, and don't ever say you'll be right back, because you won't be back. And then Matthew Lillard's like, hey, I'm going to go get a beer. You want one? I'll be right back. You know, that funny scene.
Yeah.
And that's the scene that reminds me of the angry video game nerd. He makes an angry video game nerd face when he does it. Well, he goes to get a beer. Guess who got murdered going to get a beer?
Oh, Tatum.
Yeah, Tatum. And she's still hanging from that fucking garage. So the only reason he wouldn't have been shocked by that is if he had participated in the murders. So I think that's like the one tell.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't catch that.
Who knows though? I could just be. It's one of these movies where I've watched it so many times I could be reading into it a lot. Like,
or like my theory on the Thing, where it's like, oh, you can see who gets infected when. It's like, not really.
Yeah.
Although there's one. There's definitely one. I will definitely stand by in the Thing.
Yeah.
Whatever.
I also just love his. Probably the best moment in the movie for me is when Sidney calls them after he's escaped. And it's like, just called the police and reported your sorry motherfucking asses. Like, which is a great moment. And they give the phone to fucking Lillard, and he's like, did you really tell the police? And she's like, you bet I did. And he's like, my mom and dad are going to be so mad.
so fucking great.
Which is like, oh my god, that's the best line in the movie.
I don't see, like, I think people, like, are so close to, like, understanding that this is more than just like a comedy. I mean, like, a lot of people do understand that. I'm not saying we're smarter than others. Plenty of people have talked about Scream to like such a like a literary degree, basically. But like, that's a very funny scene, but it's also very revealing about character. Like, it's not just like a witticism that the movie's playing with, you know?
Yeah.
Like, it's all based in character. Constantly.
Well, that's the thing where it's like, that's where like I don't really get Kevin Williamson, because like I can't tell how much he's tapped into what I think the movie's tapped into, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And I can't even tell how much, I can't tell how much of it is, like, you know, it's that thing of, like, it doesn't really matter what the author intends, it's what the movie says, you know?
Yeah.
But, it's just constructed so well, and not in a script is king kind of way.
Yeah.
Like,
I think the bones of it are definitely Williamson, and I think Craven takes it to the next level.
Yeah, I think Craven, like, really, really upped it a little bit.
Yeah, and unfortunately, the stink of it is like the Weinsteins, and even they have like notes that ended up helping the film. It's like, fuck, that kind of sucks.
Yeah, I mean, but hey, the Weinsteins were powerful producers. I mean, what are you gonna do? But I think Craven, I think he's also an underrated like actors director. He gets really good performances out of people, and I think that like will elevate some of his work that isn't as good. You know. I think part of the reason The Hills Have Eyes like is at all like kind of good is I think he gets a really good performance out of a lot of the crazy hill people in that movie.
Yeah.
And then something like Last House on the Left, which feels like he just found actual murderers and put them on camera. But I'm trying to think, what else do I really?
Well, do you know Danny Boyle almost, or at least was approached to do this?
That would have been bad.
Yeah.
I like Danny Boyle, but that would have been bad.
I do too. He can't. I think his genre stuff can't be too winking.
Yeah.
Like, I love 28 Days Later. I don't love Steve Jobs.
That'd be like, that would be like if you got Danny Boyle to do The Social Network. It just wouldn't fit.
Yeah.
It would just be a really bad fit to have him team up with Sorkin. Bad idea.
I still would like to see a Danny Boyle Bond movie though, and I'm glad it wasn't No Time to Die, but I would like to see it.
He almost did it, right? Like,
yeah, he was close. And sorry, a sidebar, but the rumor was like, oh, they're gonna kill off James Bond, or he wanted to kill off James Bond. They wouldn't let him do it. And it's like, okay, well, that wasn't the case. So what happened there?
I mean, maybe he was one of those guys where like,
you can't kill James Bond.
Well, maybe like the studio was like, no, we're not doing this, and then they fired Danny Boyle, and then like the studio's like, all right, well, we're not gonna kill Bond, and then Craig's like, I'm not showing up to set unless you fucking kill Bond.
Yeah. Yeah,
Craig seemed to have those producers by the balls a little bit, like, which God bless him.
Yeah.
He's a weird guy.
He is, but he's also the best. He's a great actor, man.
Well, it's weird where it's like, you know, he did like he did Knives Out recently, and like he's talked about how much he just kind of loved doing it, and like he's like that's why like he kind of immediately wanted to do a sequel, and but then like with Bond he was like almost done like immediately, and then the other was A Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, where he was like, I will not do the sequels unless I get paid like an insane amount of money. And the studio was like, well, no, we're not going to pay you that much. And, yeah. Who was the one guy? He was always lobbying for one director to do a Bond movie, and they never did. I can't remember who, though.
I don't know. People still want Nolan to do it, and I still kind of don't. I like Nolan doing Nolan.
He did his Bond movie.
He's done multiple Bond movies.
Yeah, but Tenet is like his really Bond movie.
Yes, and that's why dudes rock.
and it's like even on that level, it's like I get some people maybe not wanting to follow it into whatever whatever Nolan's up to, but it's like a great Bond movie with a great Bond villain in the middle of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
God, Branagh's so good in that.
I know, fucking. That's my goat, Kenneth Branagh.
You know who should have been a Bond villain?
Kenneth Branagh.
No, Henry Winkler.
Henry. Okay, so you know about that scene?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. For the people that don't know, so we don't just talk in like hidden languages. The scene where Henry Winkler is killed was an addition because in the screenplay, like 30 pages go by, and no one is killed, which is like fine for dramatic purposes, but I believe it was Bob Weinstein who realized that like, hey, no one's died in a while. You got to kill someone else, and so Williamson was like, all right, let's see what I could do. I'll kill off the principal. Oh, that also gives me a reason to evacuate
all the people
the
leave
house.
the party at that point, and like the police are distracted. Like, it's a good little note to add to it. Like I said, Weinstein's occasionally made a good choice.
Yeah, like maybe 5. You could probably count them on like one hand, honestly. Maybe
well,
2.
I think it's an example of the Bob Weinstein, who was not the one who committed a ton of sexual assault, but I do believe he got accused of sexual harassment too.
Yeah, I mean, like they're like disgusting, horrible people.
Yeah. And either way, he covered up for his brother. But I think he made the right thing of saying like, hey, there hasn't been a murder for X number of pages, right? Mm-hmm. Now, he didn't go in and say, like, so now you got to kill this character. I think he did the right thing of letting the writer figure out what to do with that, which I think is a better move for producers to do.
Yeah. I mean, like, people shit on producers all the time. We shit on producers all the time.
Yes.
But, like, a good producer has your back. They're like, you're in the... I think Guillermo del Toro gave this, like, metaphor where it's like, okay, the director's the one in the ring throwing the punches, taking the punches. The producer is, Paulie, going up to Rocky. Okay, what do you need? Massaging his shoulders, giving him water, dabbing the sweat away. Like, all right, what are you doing? What do you need? What can I help with? You sure that's the right call? Okay, good luck. Send him back into the ring. They go for the next round. They come back, et cetera, until the film's done.
Del Toro famously had a difficult relationship with the Weinsteins on the movie Mimic.
Oh, please let me say the quote. Guillermo del Toro, his father, for those that don't know, who has since passed away, but it was unrelated, he was taken hostage in Mexico, and the hostage takers eventually released him after I believe they were paid off or caught. I don't remember specifically which, but everything worked out. And then Guillermo del Toro made Mimic. Now, Guillermo del Toro would later say, like a decade later, that between his father being kidnapped and working with the Weinsteins was the worst situation. And wow. I just, like, wow.
Wow.
Yeah. That's pretty fucked up, but he's not the only person that feels that way, apparently.
The only other thing I know about Mimic is that in the commentary for the director's cut, Guillermo del Toro talks about a producer, now who could that be, who said he couldn't hire Andre Braugher in the male lead. Is that who it was? Let me check real quick. I'm just going to check real quick. Yeah, Andre Braugher from fucking... nowadays, I think he's most known for Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Yeah, who is a fucking fantastic actor.
Fantastic actor. He couldn't hire him for the male lead because it would have been a black male lead and a white female lead. And a producer says we can't do that. An unnamed producer said they couldn't do that. Now, is it one of the two producers with a history of being pieces of shit? Who can say? But, yeah, that's a wild thing.
Yeah.
That was still happening in 97.
I know.
Yeah, there's all this talk right now where like everyone's coming down on it, like the Republicans are using critical race theory to basically censor all of school stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And people are like, well, kids can't be taught like to make themselves feel bad about American history. As a stupid teenager, I learned all this stuff and still just assumed racism was over. Like, here's the thing. White people are stupid. I say that as a white person. You could teach them about every atrocity white people have committed, and then they're just going to... The takeaway, a young white high schooler's takeaway is going to be, man, I'm glad that's all over. The only way that wouldn't be a take is if literally there were massive protests against police brutality every, 3 months in this country. Which has nothing to do with the school curriculum. Which is a weird, what's happening with critical race theory is really bad and sets a bad precedent, and it's something we should worry about. But it also, to me, has the feeling of trying to shoot a BB gun at an oncoming train. It's not going to stop kids learning about racism.
Yeah, it's not the kind of thing that you can kind of stamp out anymore.
Yeah.
Not just because it's on the news every day or because it's on social media every day. Oh, no, they definitely are going to try.
And they're going to do some damage in doing that. But it's one of the things where we can't... The post-racial myth is no longer possible.
Mm-hmm.
Unless this country does actually get post-racial.
Yeah.
Which got a lot of work to do.
I won't bring it up here, but for the Scream 2 discussion, there is a fucking fantastic Twitter thread about the opening to that film and why it's just as brilliant as, or maybe even the most brilliant thing to come out of the franchise.
Mm-hmm.
But
we'll
stay
talk
tuned
about
for that.
that.
Yeah.
Well, I think I've said pretty much all I want to say. I got to talk about Columbine again.
Yeah,
Sorry,
yeah.
people.
No, whatever.
Sorry. I could unfortunately give a fucking massive talk on the Columbine killings, and it's reflections in media, but more so than 9/11 probably.
Jesus.
Which is saying a lot.
Oh my god.
But hey, so yeah, Scream's brilliant. If you're a young screenwriter, do not try and write about a school shooting. It's a bad idea.
Yeah, if you want to write something at a young age, get your feet wet, just write the simple, unmeta version of Scream.
Yes.
The first thing you write will not be good. It's just gonna happen,
mm-hmm.
and that's okay because you can make it good or figure out what doesn't work, and your next idea will be even better.
Yeah.
Get that shit out of the way. Now, my favorite moment in Scream, at least one of them that I always think about, that just my blood pressure totally skyrocketed when I first saw it because I didn't know who the killers were. When Stu and Randy are rushing to the front door, and Randy's like, Sydney!
Oh, that's a good scene, yeah.
Yeah, and you're like, Sydney, you don't know who it is or if it's both of them, and it's, oh my god, my brain was firing on all cylinders when
Randy
I first saw
is
that.
a really good red herring.
Oh, yeah.
He's
He
really
knows all the
good...
quote-unquote rules.
He knows all the rules, and then there's the opening, the first murder, there's very... all the early stuff with the Scream Killer are tied to videos. They're we're going to rent a movie. Sydney is talking about going out with Tatum to... Tatum's coming over with movies. Fucking Casey Becker had just rented a movie before she was murdered, and so you could be oh, this is how Randy knows they're going to be alone, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's some good work in the screenplay to set him up as a red herring, and then not only is he not a red herring, but he's also a virgin, so he survives getting shot. Weird edit on him getting shot, though, I gotta say.
A little bit, yeah.
He does the they did the reflexive he just kind of shifted his shoulder, and then they cut to him flying across the room.
Mm-hmm.
But hey, what are you gonna do?
Yeah.
It's a movie.
Also, someone who doesn't get a lot of talk in this movie because he's just kind of a side character. Shout out to William Earl Brown as Kenny Jones, the cameraman.
Oh yes,
because he's in fucking Deadwood.
That character also just rules. I like that character.
Yeah, but I want to shout out for Deadwood because
mm-hmm.
that's one of the fucking greatest shows ever made. And he plays Bill in The Last of Us.
Mm-hmm.
The game, not the show. Although they should have just brought him back for the show, frankly. Because if you know that character from the game, it's oh yeah, that's his Deadwood character. It looks just like him.
He's a great character actor. He's great in this, and I will say his cameraman, to bring up a reference I've made before on the podcast, he looks exactly like one of the Game Grumps.
Really?
The cameraman character specifically.
All right.
Looks exactly like one of the Game Grumps.
Oh, him and Gale are the Game Grumps. Hey, I'm Grump.
And much like I wanted to make very clear that the Game Grumps were dead on the Korra podcast, guess who didn't make it out of the film? Like Kenny the cameraman.
R.I.P. Kenny Jones.
Is this post South Park?
We're not going there. We're not even.
No, I just want to know.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, like if that's why he's named Kenny. No, South Park's 1 year later.
Oh, thank Christ.
Although the viral Spirit of Christmas video, like that went viral before the internet, was probably going around, and they do say, "Oh my God, they killed Kenny" in it. So,
you bastards.
You bastards.
No, I was calling all of you bastards for listening, like watching South Park.
Man, it would be really cool if South Park had gone off the air like 10 years ago.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of that thing where it's like anything sticks around like long enough, it's gonna become like...
It just is the establishment.
Yeah, like things need to end, you know? And honestly, that's what I'm kind of worried about with like Scream, because like every sequel's like tackling something, even though they're structurally very similar to the first movie, because if it ain't broke, you know? But like sticks around long enough, it's like... You know, they're going to try to franchise it like even further, like into spin-offs and stuff, because that's just the way everything works now.
It's like, what more is there even really to say with Scream, you know?
Yeah, I mean, not to show my cards too much, but if you follow me on Letterboxd, you know how I feel about Scream 4. And I don't know what else you do. Like, I guess you can kind of do, like, the reboot remake thing, but Scream 4 already
kind of did that, and then like maybe there's a social media angle you could do a little more, but I also think Scream 4 did a little bit of that.
Scream 4 does that. I think Scream 4 is 10 years early on.
Yeah, Scream 4
Logan
was like
Paul.
Early, yeah.
I think if that movie comes out now, people are like, this is a masterpiece, or at least this is like on par with the first film, or fucking either way, like people will recognize like it's at least going for something like genuinely inventive and smart, not just like clever and winking like a lot of the Scream ripoffs try to do, you know? Yeah. But like I think it's really touching at the heart of new media in a way. But I don't know. I mean, I liked Ready or Not a lot.
Yeah. I just worry it's just gonna kind of be like basic, like, oh, the rich suck or something, like, which, you know,
I mean, at the very least, that's not the wrong approach.
Yeah, it'll be like, I think it'll be fine, it'll have to be really good to be good, you know?
Yeah. Like I'm excited, but I am super worried.
It could surprise us.
Yeah.
Anyway, we went for 2 hours on Scream.
Yeah, Scream's fantastic. 5 stars across the board.
Yeah, masterpiece.
Neve Campbell also should have been a bigger star. She's kind of starting to come back a little bit. I think she also became like a mom. That's also kind of the reason.
But wasn't she also in a documentary that was kind of about like trying to get movies financed?
Was she? I mean, I believe that because like I'm sure that's why she did like fucking Skyscraper. Remember Skyscraper?
Well, no, she did a movie, if I remember correctly, she did a movie where it was about trying to get movies financed. And I don't think she was in it. Like, I mean, I don't think she, like, made it, but she was in it. And there was, like, all this stuff where, like, producers kept saying no because they didn't want her as the lead of the film. I think that was her. I could be thinking of a different actress, though.
Okay, yeah, because I did not know about that.
Oh, Neve Campbell's a Jew who converted to Catholicism.
Oh. Welcome to my old abode.
Why?
I don't know. All right, that was Scream. Go watch it. Join us for the next time when we probably talk about every sequel at the same time. Maybe.
Or we don't. We'll see.
We will see what happens. You'll see what happens. Until then, Matt, where can the people find you?
I'm at EmperorOTN1 at Twitter.com.
And you can find me at the Diego Crespo. Check out the Waffle Press on Twitter, YouTube, SoundCloud, Spotify, iTunes, and Patreon. You can get early access to Scream, whatever sequels we talk about. And then we'll be back to talk about Scream 5, also known as just Scream. We'll see how that goes. Thanks for listening, everyone. Thanks for watching.
That's what it should have been called.
Scream 5?
No, just Scream.
Just Scream. Sure.
There we go. We solved it. We're brilliant.
We will see the tone and like the vibe of it, and we'll determine whether or not it's the best decision to call it Scream or the worst decision to call it Scream.
Yes.
But until then, we have been professionally unprofessional. Happy New Year. Bye-bye.
Bye.